Hokage I can only draw S-rank rewards. Chapter 41-60. Chapter 41 Grim Reaper Mask. Seal the scroll. Entering the Namian Hall, Lei Luo saw that the wall that was supposed to be covered with death masks was now blank. By the way, now the masks of the Uzumaki clan's Noodle Hall should have moved to Konoha, so why did Hirenmaru let me come here? Lei Luo sensed Hirenmaru in his hands, trying to figure out what was going on. Hirenmaru guided Lei Luo again, and came to the center of Namian Tang, which was a statue of the god of death. Is there anything special about this statue? Lei Luo looked carefully, and finally found something unreasonable in the eyes of death. This is. The eyes of the god of death statue are black and white, showing a weird feeling. Huh, such a strange feeling. Lei Luo scratched his head at the statue of death. Did you say? Thinking of this, Lei Luo made up his mind, stepped forward and put his hands on the two eyes of the god of death statue and touched it. Sure enough, the problem is with the eyes. This black eye can be turned. Then let's see what's hidden in this statue now. Lei Luo turned the black eyes of the god of death statue, and with a click, the eyes could no longer be turned, like the sound of the mechanism closing. The eyes of the god of death statue have all turned white, but it gives people a feeling as if they are alive. Kaka. I saw the god of death statue in front of me opened its mouth, and an ordinary seal scroll fell out of it. Lei Luo directly reached out to catch the seal scroll and observed it carefully. Is it just an ordinary seal scroll? Open it to see what's inside, or be careful. Then prepare to be elementalized at any time, and lift the seal of the scroll. A peculiar mask of death and a scroll recording things appeared in Lei Luo's hands. This mask of death was exactly the same as the statue of the god of death in front of him. Looking at the empty eye holes of the mask of death, Lei Luo felt as if a strange attraction came from the mask, and the soul seemed to fly out of the body. Lei Luo quickly turned his eyes away, stopped looking at the mask of death, and opened the remaining scroll in his hand. Illusory Dragon 9 Seals. Lei Luo was very shocked. He didn't expect this scroll to be a seal scroll containing the 9 seals of the magic dragon. The so-called sealing technique is a kind of sealing technique that seals the opponent's chakra with a curse. The person who is sealed will have a sealing type. Sealing can be divided into even-numbered seals and odd-numbered seals, each with its own effect. Sealing is a mysterious spell. The Magic Dragon 9 Seals is a sealing technique that needs to gather 10 cage-level powerhouses as the casters, activate the seal image with everyone's consciousness, and use the charm released from its mouth to attract the chakra general tailed beast. Carrot is drawn and sealed from the body of the human Jinchuriki column force. Isn't this the sealing technique that Akatsuki used to seal the tailed beast in the future? Did Nagato get it from here in the future? Or did Black Zetsu discover it? Forget it, no matter how much, since it's in my hands, they won't have anything to do with it. I just don't know if this technique can only seal the tailed beast into Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, or it can also be sealed elsewhere. Can this sealing technique only be used to seal tailed beasts? For a while, Lei Luo's thoughts were complicated, and countless questions appeared in his mind. But for Lei Luo, who can only use ordinary seal scrolls, this kind of difficult seal technique is like a primary school student learning advanced numbers, it tastes sour. Fortunately, in addition to the top-level sealing techniques such as Magic Dragon 9 Seals, there are some basic and simple sealing techniques that Lei Luo can learn. Lei Luo shook his head vigorously. Forget it, don't watch it, I'll learn it later when I have a chance. Put it away first, otherwise it won't be good for Kiba and the others to find out. Lei Luo resealed the sealing scroll and the mask of death into the sealing scroll, then put it away, and then went out to meet the 3 dogs, Kiba. However, what Lei Luo did not find was that all of his actions were watched by a green snake hiding in the grass. Looking at Lei Luo who was leaving, the green snake swung its tail and disappeared into the grass. The country of the vortex. The secret base of Orochimaru. After Konoha and Sunagakure village signed a truce, Orochimaru also had some free time to continue his study of immortality. Orochimaru has no intention of defecting to Konoha yet. In order to reduce the risk of exposure, Orochimaru came to the secret base of the country of Vortex to continue his experimental research. Not only that, just in case, Orochimaru also released a lot of snakes in the country of Vortex for detection, keeping vigilance. At this moment, Orochimaru put down the test tube in his hand, and a green snake swam over. Hiss, the green snake spat out a letter, as if reporting something. Konoha Anbu with a shark face mask, is it Lei Luo-kun who came to the country of Vortex? Orochimaru licked the corner of his mouth, his eyes were strange. I didn't expect that there was something hidden in the noodle hall of the Uzumaki family. Lei Luo-kun really my lucky star, hee. Quote. Then Orochimaru looked at the test report just drawn. I didn't expect that the vitality of Lei Luo-kun's light escape cells would increase again, and it could be fused with Mokuden wood-style cells, which really made me a little impatient. Quote. Looks like Naoki can awaken Mokuden wood-style. Lei Luo-kun has done a lot. Then let's try this kind of light escape and Mokuden wood-style fusion of cells. What effect will it have? Orochimaru started to fuse the cells into the body of the child on the test bed. His eyes were so cold and crazy. The densely packed petri dishes erected behind it made people shudder even more. A few days later, the Lei Luo team returned to Konoha in a dusty way. Office, Sarutobi Hiruzen was very surprised after listening to Lei Luo's mission report. It turns out that Jinchuriki column force from the six-tailed village of Kurigakure escaped from the village. No wonder the Water Council blocked the whole territory. This kind of thing is a huge loss for any ninja village. I don't know if we Konoha have any opportunity to bring back the Jinchuriki column force of the six-tailed. Quote. What surprised me the most was that your team killed 4 of the 7 ninja knives, and also captured 4 ninja knives. Lei Luo, you have done a very good job this time. Sarutobi Hiruzen picked up the pipe and took a deep puff, then exhaled a puff of smoke, and the whole person calmed down. This mission has been out for so long, you should go back and have a good rest for a few days. If there is another task for your team in the future, I will send someone to inform you again. Lei Luo lowered his head and said, Yes, Lord Hokage. Then he left the Hokage office and went home. What Lei Luo didn't know was that after he left, Kiba, the dog of their team, was summoned to Hokage's office by Sarutobi Hiruzen, and he didn't know what to say. Chapter 42 shocked Lei Luo. Goodbye Kakashi. Just like that, a week has passed. Lei Luo insisted on exercising physical skills every day, and had a good time with Kurenai Yuhi and Azuki Yugao, who returned to the village after completing the task. As the so-called Xiaobi wins the newly married, Lei Luo is also very happy to see the 2 daughters whom he has not seen for a long time. Although Lei Luo knew that Kurenai Yuhi and Azuki Yugao lived to the finale in the original work, but he was afraid of the butterfly effect due to his arrival. Only when he saw the safety of the 2 women with his own eyes could Lei Luo be relieved. After all, in this Hokage world, the 2 daughters are already the most important people for Lei Luo, who has no parents and no support. These days, Lei Luo has always had a faint feeling of being spied on, but Lei Luo has nothing special. Lei Luo knew in his heart that the person who peeped at him should be the telescope technique that Sarutobi Hiruzen, the 3rd generation of eyes, usually used to patrol the village. Since Danzo summoned him last time but was intercepted by Sarutobi Hiruzen halfway, he has never sent anyone to look for him again, and he doesn't know if Sarutobi Hiruzen said something to Danzo. But what shocked Lei Luo the most was the death of Konoha White Fang. He originally thought that Hatake Tsukumo did not die when Kakashi was a child, but because of the butterfly effect, his original fate had been changed, but he did not expect to die in the same way as in the original book. And after Hatake Tsukumo's death, the rumors in the previous Konoha village quickly disappeared without a trace, and Konoha White Fang seemed to be forgotten, and no one mentioned it in the village. If Lei Luo hadn't met Yuhi and Yugao, it would have been a long time before he knew the news. Although it is said that Hatake Tsukumo committed suicide, but with his past contributions to Konoha, he is still qualified to engrave his name on the memorial tablet. Otherwise, let's go to Matsuri, the memorial monument. How can I say that Hatake Tsukumo is one of my favorite characters in the original book? Lei Luo thought to himself. Lei Luo went to the memorial monument. Of course, he didn't forget to go to Yamanaka's flower shop before going to buy a bunch of white chrysanthemums. When Lei Luo arrived at the memorial monument, he saw Kakashi, whom he hadn't seen for a long time. Kakashi's expression was sluggish, his eyes were dull, and he was confused, like a walking corpse, and no longer had the vigor and anger he had before. Lei Luo stepped forward and placed the white chrysanthemum in his hand in front of Hatake Tsukumo's tombstone. Kakashi still didn't move. Although Lei Luo thought that this had nothing to do with him, and he was not familiar with Kakashi, so he didn't need to worry about him, but somehow he couldn't take the step to leave. Crack! Lei Luo slapped Kakashi in the face, knocking him to the ground. Kakashi, Obito and Rin, who came to see Kakashi, couldn't help but exclaimed when they saw this scene. Then Rin hurried over to help Kakashi up. Lei Luo, how can you do this? Kakashi just lost his father, how can you do this to him? Obito on the side also responded, yes. Yes, although I don't like Kakashi, but Lei Luo, you are too much. Lei Luo snorted coldly, I'm too much. Look at what Kakashi looks like now, isn't he a famous genius? Why doesn't he run away? He has the ability to fight back. Now he is the only one left in the Hatake clan, and he is no different from being exterminated, and the Hatake clan will disappear into the ninja world. After listening to Lei Luo's words, Kakashi's expression finally changed, and he said, the Hatake family. Humph! The glory of the Hatake family has been lost by that man. Obito wondered, that man? Who is it? Kakashi said coldly, Hatake Tsukumo. Obito jumped up, Kakashi, Uncle Tsukumo is your father, how can you say that to him? Kakashi shouted, I don't have such a father, he's a waste, a coward. Ha ha, Lei Luo sneered, look, this is Hatake Kakashi, a Byakugan wolf, if I were Lord Tsukumo, I should strangle him when he was born. But Mrs. Hatake, I heard that it was also because he was difficult to give birth. And die. Kakashi Yuhi, what right do you have to say about me? Lei Luo replied, then what qualifications do you have to say that the famous Konoha White Fang Hatake Tsukumo is a waste and a coward? Just because you are his son? Or because of your genius name? Ridiculous. Konoha is the first genius of the same class, blowing GB. Without Tsukumo-sama, you are nothing. Come and fight if you don't agree. Just fight, I'm afraid of you. In the training ground of Konoha village, Lei Luo and Kakashi stood facing each other, while Obito and Rin watched from the sidelines. The sign of opposition between the two sides, Lei Luo has become serious, he wants to wake up Kakashi and let him get out of the current state. Hand seal was over. Lei Luo rushed towards Kakashi in an instant. Kakashi looked at Lei Luo, who was rushing to throw out a few kunai, but was easily dodged by Lei Luo and rushed directly in front of him. Don't use this kind of temptation, you genius. Lei Luo sneered, punching Kakashi in the chest. Kakashi crossed his hands to block, but was also kicked back a few steps by Lei Luo, his arm was numb. Will the big genius only be beaten? Will he fight back? Lei Luo continued to mock. Clay figurines have 3 points of anger, not to mention a genius like Kakashi, who is originally high-spirited. Humph, I'm going to attack next, be careful to kill me directly. Kakashi swung his arms, took an attacking stance, and rushed towards Lei Luo. Kakashi can be called a genius as that he is naturally excellent in various aspects such as taijutsu, ninjutsu, and demonic illusion. Konoha Gang Force Whirlwind, Kakashi appeared on top of Lei Luo's head and kicked Lei Luo with one leg. It's ridiculous, you are actually fighting with me, then I'll show you what real taijutsu is. Lei Luo directly punched Kakashi's kicked leg, forcing him to retreat. Light speed kick. Lei Luo flashed in all directions around Kakashi, punching and kicking, attacking Kakashi. Kakashi fought hard to resist, but couldn't keep up with Lei Luo's speed, and was beaten with bruises and bruises. How is it, genius? Lei Luo appeared in front of Kakashi. Damn it! Kakashi roared, Raiden Thunder style. Chidori, Kakashi's right hand burst into light of thunder and lightning, accompanied by a creaking sound, like a flock of birds chirping, directly towards Lei Luo, who appeared in front of him, rushed over. Light escape. 8-foot mirror. Lei Luo came directly behind Kakashi with a light, dodging Kakashi's move. However, Kakashi couldn't control his body, and rushed directly to a big tree. Chidori in his hand penetrated it, and the place where his palm penetrated was pitch black, but his head collided with the tree, and he fainted directly. Rin and Obito ran over when they saw it. Looking at the two who helped Kakashi up, Lei Luo said, Rin, Obito, after Kakashi wakes up, you can help me convey a sentence. The strong in the ninja world is respected. When he surpasses Konoha White Fang, he will judge him again. If he still wants to challenge me, I'll be with me anytime. You guys take him to Konoha Hospital. I think his arm is broken. Rin and Obito nodded. They had already realized that Lei Luo was actually out of kindness, and without saying much, they took Kakashi to Konoha Hospital. Chapter 43 _ The abnormality of the soup country. Since Lei Luo taught Kakashi a lesson that day, he hasn't been seen for many days. On this day, Lei Luo, after completing the daily exercise task as usual, walked towards the home from the training ground, but the Black Crow, which he hadn't seen for a long time, suddenly appeared in front of him. Black Crow, long time no see. Black Crow nodded, but without much chatting, he came up and went straight to the topic. Black Shark, Lord Hokage has a new task for your team. After arriving at Anbu Base, Lei Luo learned the specific content of the mission after receiving the mission book. After the collapse of Sunagakure village and the closure of Kurigakure, Konoha's only remaining pressure is the Battle of Grassland, where he fought the Land of Earth. Of course, the village of Kumogakure, which has been hidden until now, cannot but be on guard. Not long ago, Konoha's informant came to the information that a small country sandwiched between the country of fire and the country of thunder, called the country of soup, suddenly appeared in the country. I know, and I don't know if it is Kumogakure's handwriting, so I need to go to investigate the situation. After seeing the content of this mission, Lei Luo felt a little tricky. Lei Luo knows about Cthulhu as Hidan, a member of Akatsuki in the original book, codenamed Sante. Hidan was born in the village of Yuyan, the country of Yuno, known as the village that forgot the war. Tangyan village is a village whose combat power has diminished as the war disappears, but it is also a village rich in natural resources. Hidan, a ninja born, is very eager to fight, so he is dissatisfied with the pacifist soup ninja village. So I began to pay attention to the emerging religion, Cthulhu, whose purpose is to kill everyone around. The doctrine of this, Cthulhu, is full of affirmation of Hidan's will. Hidan used a spell to kill them because they hated their pacifism, and later became missing nin, joined in Quat, Akatsuki and Quat, to make more people aware of the pain of injury or death, and another reason for religion. But Hidan's immortality is not innate. He was used by other believers to do experiments when he was in the cult, and he obtained the ability to curse an immortality. Hidan's immortality is not a blessing but a curse, and the power of the curse continues with the killing. Now the evil gods have just emerged, and it is unknown whether anyone has the same ability as Hidan. If someone has the same spell-killing ability, it is unknown whether Lei Luo's elementalization can avoid damage. Thinking of this, Lei Luo couldn't help but have a headache, but he still kept this fairy bean in his system space, so it should be no problem to save his life. But still, be careful of the so-called evil god. I don't know what it is. Lei Luo thought to himself. Lei Luo immediately summoned the team members, explained the status of the task, and sent them back to pack up the supplies and set off the next day. A few days later, Lei Luo and his party came to Tangyan village. Lei Luo and several people used transformation technique and became ordinary people who came to travel, and they were inconspicuous in the crowd. Now the Third Ninja World War is raging, and every small country is in danger. Lei Luo and the four walked in Tangyan village, but found that the residents here were not at all nervous. Many, completely a paradise. Let's go, let's find a place to stay first, and then ask around to see if we can find any trace of the heretic god cult, Lei Luo whispered to the three dogs Kiba. The four came to a hotel, opened the room to stay, and then all went out again, scattered, and asked for information. Time passed quickly and night fell. However, Tangyan village did not become deserted at all because of the night, but gradually became lively. People came and went on the street, the shops on both sides were brightly lit, and some people were shouting hard, trying to attract people to come here. Tourists, many of them girls in sexy dresses, call out little brother in a sweet voice when they meet someone. Lei Luo was walking on the street, watching the lively scene, his heart was very calm. Alas, it would be great if the ninja world could be so peaceful forever. It's a pity. Although Lei Luo has been in the ninja world for so many years and has already adapted to the life of a ninja, he occasionally misses the peaceful life in his previous life. However, I still can't let my guard down. Now I'm not strong enough to overwhelm everything. Orochimaru and Danzo have been lurking in the dark, and the war is still going on. At this moment, Lei Luo suddenly felt a hand touch him, and then his purse disappeared. It's interesting. I didn't expect a thief to steal from me. I just let down my guard too much. Lei Luo glanced at the crowd, and soon found the target, and the target was in the crowd and slipped out quietly, and Lei Luo followed after seeing this. Outside Tangyan village, in a dark mountain, there is a cave secret base. Inside the secret base is a huge black brick square. Today, more than a dozen heretics in black robes are lying on the ground in the square. Under them is a huge circle pattern drawn with blood, and in the circle pattern is a huge triangle, also written in blood. The cultists lay on their backs in the blood ring, waiting for the blood to drain. Night, on the outskirts of the country of Soup. Ha, ah, ah, in a slightly rapid breath, the man hurriedly reached out and wiped the sweat from his head. Judging from his movement trajectory, he should be avoiding something at this time. This person may be a veteran of burglary. Every time he crosses the grass, he will slightly support it with his hands, which almost perfectly covers the trajectory of his actions. Nearly an hour has passed, and his physical strength is no longer able to support him to escape under a high load. His legs trembled slightly, his back leaned against the tree, he sat down slowly, trying not to make any noise. Shouldn't follow, the man thought to himself. He was originally a resident of the Kingdom of Tang, and he was idle on weekdays to steal passengers' belongings. The hot Izumi in the land of Soup is famous in the ninja world, and there are people from all walks of life from all over the world. He also, business, continued. Just this evening, he shot again in the village. After getting the things, he turned around and squeezed into the crowd. In his heart, he sighed that this person was not even a little vigilant, but also mixed with a little joy of success, but just as he turned out of the crowd, he found that someone was following him. He also has experience with this kind of thing. Generally, he will return the things intact, and they will not hold on to him after going out to hide for a few days. Turning his eyes, he squeezed sideways into the alley facing the street, looked left and right at no one in the alley, put the untouched purse in a conspicuous place, turned and left, and squeezed into the crowd again. He thought that this matter could end here, but after a while, he noticed a needle-like gaze, and that person obviously did not intend to let him go. With a turn in his heart, he quietly left the village and entered the forest. Chapter 44-Discover the Cultism. Lei Luo looked at the man who entered the forest with great interest. Originally, he just wanted to catch up with the thief and get back the purse to see if he could get some news from him. You must know that such low-level people have their own news channels, which can be regarded as valuable. But he didn't expect that the thief would return the money bag, so Lei Luo didn't arrest him immediately, but to see if he could follow him all the way to the old nest. Unexpectedly, he left the village and entered the forest in front of him. The mountains and forests in the middle of the night are dimly lit, and it is really difficult for ordinary people to find the trail, but the thief in front is very conspicuous in the perception of Lei Luo's Yuhi outside. Not long after, the thief entered a cave, and with a scream, the Yuhi-colored figure in Lei Luo's eyes gradually dimmed. The thief must be dead. It seems that there should be something in this cave, but I'm not afraid, let's go in and have a look. Lei Luo thought to himself. As soon as he entered the cave, it was pitch black, and he could barely see his fingers, but Lei Luo still heard a crisp ticking sound from the cave, and also smelled a bloody smell. There is still a water pool in this cave. Is it also a Wen Izumi? It is indeed the country of soup. Lei Luo thought to himself. Raising his finger, a small ball of light appeared on Lei Luo's fingertip, like a light bulb, illuminating the darkness in front of him. This is not some kind of ninjutsu, but a simple use of light attribute chakra. If you have to name it, it's called light escape. Lighting technique. Just when the light illuminated the cave, Lei Luo looked around and was instantly shocked. He clearly saw that the source of the sound of the water droplets was not a pool of water at all, but a pool of blood. On the top of the cave, blood was dripping into the blood pool, making a ticking sound. Next to the blood pool is a statue erected, which seems to have an indescribable evil feeling. Hee, I didn't expect there was another person. You should be a ninja. Just right. The evil god is lacking Matsuri. I think the taste of ninja will definitely make the evil god happy. A yin zozo voice suddenly came from the top of the head. What? There is actually someone in the cave. Lei Luo frowned when he heard the sound. Why didn't my Yuhi perimeter perception find it? Lei Luo thought for a while and then understood. It should be the reason why there is no light in the cave. Stepping through the iron shoes, there is nowhere to find it, and it took no effort to get it, and it happened to find the trace of the heretic god cult. Lei Luo reached out and threw a ball of light, which was suspended in the air under his control, illuminating the entire cave. A figure slid down from the top of the cave along the cave wall, still holding a weapon. Humph! Stupid pagans, dare to break into the Matsuri altar of our evil gods, the evil gods will punish you. The evil gods said. Looking at the mad Cthulhu cultist, Lei Luo pouted, walked directly to his side and cut off his throat. To Lei Luo's surprise, the leader of the evil god sect did not fall down, and the wound on his throat healed after a few seconds. I didn't expect that besides Hidan, there are actually other people who have immortality. Lei Luo secretly thought. The heretic god sect believers looked enthusiastic. The heretic god will bestow immortality for every loyal believer. If you believe in the heretic god now, the heretic god may forgive you for your rudeness just now and accept you again. Lei Luo was stunned when he heard the words, and then laughed out loud. At this time, the people of the heretic god sect are still pulling him into the sect, really dedicated. It seems that you heretic don't have the idea of joining our evil god religion. The evil god will punish you sooner or later. The leader of the Cthulhu sect looked at Lei Luo, who was laughing out loud, and instantly became furious, and charged directly towards Lei Luo. But he also underestimated Lei Luo too much. Lei Luo's hands shone with light, and light escape. 8-foot Chong Tomo directly released countless light bombs, attacking the rushing cultists. In a single encounter, the cultist was beaten into a sieve, but he slowly got up from the ground, and his injuries slowly recovered. This immortal body is indeed a bit difficult to deal with. Lei Luo thought. Damn it, Lord Heretic God will never let you go. The Heretic God cultist turned around and ran, his body flashed with blood, and he climbed up the mountain wall and disappeared on the top of the cave. Lei Luo followed closely to the top of the cave and found that there was a passage, and after passing through the passage, there was a huge black brick square. There was no trace of the leader of the heretic god cult on the square, but in the square, the huge circular blood formations smeared with blood were still there. The triangle formed by the blood in the middle of the blood formation, the whole huge blood pattern, is obviously the strange pattern of the evil sect where Hidan is in Lei Luo's memory. It seems that the blood dripping from the cave below seeps down from this square. These evil god formation talismans. Higher Inmaru can actually react. Lei Luo squatted down, put his hand on the blood formation talismans, and then input some chakra to sense the blood of these formation talismans. At this time, higher Inmaru in the spiritual world was slightly fluctuating. It turns out that these talismans also contain the willpower generated by the rituals of the heretic god cult. Lei Luo closed his eyes, and through the energy he sensed in the blood traces at this time, he could vaguely imagine the image of Matsuri, a member of the evil god sect at that time. There are quite a lot of people here. There should be a lot of followers of the heretic god nearby. Don't be careless, go back first, and bring the team members over tomorrow. Thinking of this, Lei Luo walked out of the house, stepped out the door, and looked back at the building behind him. It was like a shrine for the common family Matsuri, but he didn't expect that there would be an evil cult hidden in it. Although Lei Luo is not a saint, but recalling the image of the Matsuri sacrifice that I vaguely imagined just now, I can't help but feel nauseated. There is no such thing as the cult of evil gods, and it shouldn't exist in this world. Lei Luo made up his mind that he must eradicate the cult of evil gods tomorrow. After Lei Luo returned to the Dao Hotel, he found that the other members of the team had already returned. Lei Luo explained to a few people what he saw today, and then arranged the action to destroy the heretic god cult tomorrow. They all went to rest. Tomorrow may be a tough battle. On the other side, the escaped cultists came to the door of another cave. At the entrance of the cave, slightly inward, two adult men in black robes sat in the shadows. The adult man hiding in the shadows has a special expression on his face, especially obscure and depressed. On the cave wall behind them, two huge bloody March sickles were docked there. This is a Yuhi-colored three-section scythe with telescopic function. The bottom is connected by a rope, and extends to the waist of the two men. The three blades of the scythe were in the shadows, faintly reflecting the moonlight outside the cave. I have urgent information to report to the leader. Chapter 45 _ The Evil God Bless. Immortal Cultists. In the early morning of the next day, the sky just dawned, and the four of Lei Luo had already set off. Lei Luo led the four to gallop all the way to the shrine yesterday. Look around, be careful, it was too late last night for 10:10, and many places didn't have time to check. Standing at the gate of the shrine, Lei Luo said to the three of the team. The three dogs, Kiba, bowed their heads and replied, yes. Pushing open the door of the shrine, the light shone in, and the team carefully entered and found that there was no danger, and then dispersed. Lei Luo stood on the square and looked at everything in the shrine. Yesterday, the blood formation on the square had dried up, and the traces of black Yuhi were merged into the black brick square. It was not so conspicuous. There were several rooms behind the square. People have already checked in. After a while, the dog Kiba and the others gathered around Lei Luo after investigating. The dog Kiba bowed his head and said respectfully, Captain, I didn't find anything here. Firefox, I didn't find it here either. Red Snake, me too. After listening to a few people's words, Lei Luo nodded. There was no surprise. After all, the people of the heretic god sect are a group of fanatical lunatics, and there shouldn't be any elaborate arrangements. Then Lei Luo opened his mouth and said to the dog Kiba, you can summon Silver Maru and see if it can find the trail of the evil gods within the mountain. Yes. The dog Kiba pressed the hand seal with both hands on the ground, the smoke dissipated, and the silver pill appeared in place. Silver Maru licked Kiba, the dog, looking very affectionate. Silver Maru, try smelling the blood on the square and see if you can find the owner of the blood. Silver Pill gave a wong, and lowered his head to smell the dried blood. Then he raised his head and barked loudly at the dog Kiba. Inu Kiba said, Captain, Silver Maru said that these bloodstains belong to many people. It was too confusing. He could only vaguely perceive the general direction, but he could not distinguish the owner of each bloodstain. Lei Luo replied, it's enough to know the general direction. Our purpose is to find the traces of the evil gods. Inu Kiba nodded, then touched Silver Maru's head and said, Silver Maru, lead the way. Wow! Silver Maru took the lead and ran out. The wind was howling in the mountains and forests. Lei Luo and the others followed Silver Maru to attack. Lei Luo also activated his perception ninjutsu to prevent an ambush. Wow! Silver Maru suddenly called out twice, then stopped. Captain, Inu Kiba began. Silver Maru said he felt that the position was not far away. Very good. Lei Luo stopped, then let's rest in place for 10 minutes, then repair and recover. 10 minutes later, Lei Luo set off again with 4 people and 1 dog, but has slowed down to make his whereabouts more concealed. Are there ninjas? A Yuhi-colored figure suddenly appeared in Lei Luo's perception, and then he waved a few people to stop. Looking up, the place where Yuhi's erotic figure was perceived was a mountain platform on the front of the mountain, and behind the platform was a huge cave. The figure of Yuhi that Lei Luo perceives is the guard at the entrance of the cave. It seems that we have successfully found the place we are looking for. Be careful to hide, approach slowly, and then solve the guard at the door without making any noise. Lei Luo whispered. The 3 dogs, Kiba, nodded. Slowly touching it, I could clearly see 2 adult men in black robes at the entrance of the cave, with a huge bloody march sickle on their backs. The 2 guards of the evil god sect seemed to sense some movement and tilted their heads slightly. With a flash of light, Lei Luo came behind one of them, and with a single finger, the laser light pierced his throat and fell straight forward. The other guard was even more miserable, and was directly knocked off by the Kai snake's hidden shadow snake hand. Come on, be careful, and look inside. Assassination is what ninjas do best, and Hanbu is one of them. Bang, is another corpse of a cultist who fell to the ground. The followers of these cults are basically genin level, and they are really no threat to Lei Luo and the others, and they cannot detect the traces of Lei Luo and others at all. There are many passage rooms in this underground cave, but the passages all converge to one place in the end. The believers in the rooms have been cleaned up by Lei Luo and a few people, and then they have to go to the end of the passage. Silently groping forward, I came to the edge of the passage, and I was able to see the end of the passage. It is another huge black brick square. There are about 30 or 40 black-robed believers in the square. At the end of the square, there is a seat similar to a throne. There is a man in a blood-colored robe sitting on it, and standing next to it. 2 black robes. The one on the throne is estimated to be the leader of the heretic god sect. Let's release group ninjutsu together and kill the cultists in the square first. Lei Luo whispered to the team members. At the next moment, light escape. 8-foot Chang Tomo, snake ninja technique. Destroying the chaos snake, Kaden fire style. The art of the fire dragon, Lei Luo, Kai snake, and Fire Fox directly released the group ninja jutsu attack the square, while Inu Kiba and Silver Maru stayed on the sidelines. Countless snakes appeared in the square, biting the members of the evil god sect in the square, and the sky-filled light bullets and ferocious fire dragons made it even more difficult for them to resist. Ah, the screams were endless. And just when Lei Luo and the others just released ninjutsu, the leader of the evil god sect immediately found out, but he couldn't stop these ninjutsu at all. Only Hanseal pulled up a rock wall in front of him to protect himself and his side of 2 believers. Damn attackers, you are courting death. The cult leader of the heretic god growled. Ground on the Doden earth style. Tulong gun, square swelled, and a huge rock gun appeared and stabbed Lei Luo and several others. HMPH, is this the only thing you can do as the leader of the heretic god sect? With a grasp of the void, Hirinmaru instantly appeared in Lei Luo's hands, and Lei Luo waved forward, directly cutting off the stabbing rock spear. He is the leader, and it was he who discovered our shrine stronghold yesterday. Said a black-robed cultist next to the leader of the evil god sect. He was the one who escaped from the shrine yesterday. Stand next to the bishop. Yo, isn't this the one who escaped in a daze yesterday? Lei Luo teased, and it was hard for him to take this power of the leader of the heretic god sect into his eyes. As soon as the words fell, Lei Luo appeared in front of the leader of the heretic god sect, and cut him into two ends with a knife, but the leader of the heretic god sect did not die, but was still roaring in anger. Is that true? Lei Luo looked at the roaring cult leader in front of him, but he didn't have any surprises. After all, the black-robed cultists around him could be immortal, how could he not? So Lei Luo didn't stop. Light escape. Tiankong Cloud Sword covered the surface of Higher Enmaru, and kept slashing at the leader of the evil god sect. 1 cut, 2 cuts, 3 cuts. Lei Luo kept swinging the knife, and soon, the leader of the evil god sect was broken into pieces. Haha, I'm immortal. Lord Evil God bless you, you can't kill me. Chapter 46 The source of the evil gods. Destruction. The head of the leader of the heretic god sect rolled to the ground was still screaming. The other cultists had been cleaned up by the 3 dogs, Kiba, and only the black-robed cultist, who was also undead, remained. The current situation has stabilized, and the heretic god cult has no ability to resist. As long as the 2 so-called immortal bodies in front of them are solved, this mission will be completed. Looking at the head of the leader of the evil god sect on the ground, Lei Luo didn't think of a good solution for a while. Why don't you try burning it? Or freeze it with Higher Enmaru? Or let Tam eat it? Can it be digested? A series of thoughts kept popping up in Lei Luo's mind. An immortal body, an immortal body. Lei Luo suddenly thought of something. Monsters. The sprites come from the mysterious country of ghosts. This country is located on the western edge of the continent. The depths from east to west and north to south are similar. It looks like an ellipse, and its area exceeds most of the small and medium-sized countries, such as the land of rain and grass. The kingdom of water is even bigger when added together. If the kingdom of water is not included in the surrounding islands, the area of the main island in the center of the light is not as good. More importantly, the country of ghosts is a mysterious country with witches. Many monsters are sealed in this country, and witches can seal these monsters, and also have the ability to predict the life and death of others. The leader of the monsters in the land of ghosts is called Wang Liang. A human named Huang Izumi can use his power to make undead ninjas and undead legions similar to the terracotta warriors, and this monster called Wang Liang is a monster similar to a tailed beast. It cannot be killed by ordinary means at all, only witches can seal the monsters. Thinking of this, Lei Luo suddenly said to the leader of the evil god sect, "Do you know Huang Izumi?" The voice of the leader of the evil god sect, who was still roaring on the ground, stopped abruptly, but he immediately said, "Huang Izumi." "What Huang Izumi? Damn it, the evil god lord will not let you go." Looking at the abnormal performance of the leader of the evil god sect, Lei Luo has already determined in his heart that he must be related to Huang Izumi, and even his so-called Lord Evil God may be a monster. Since the sealing technique can seal monsters, if this evil god is really a monster, then my light escape purification should also have a certain effect. Try it. Lei Luo's hands burst into light, and pressed it on the head of the cult leader. Light escape. Purification. The original warm and healing power fell on the cult leader, but it made him feel the pain and approach like a soul tearing. The feeling of death. Ah! The head on the ground roared wildly, and all parts of the body seemed to be able to feel this feeling, and they were constantly shaking. It seems that I have no way to know the specific information of your heretic god sect, but it doesn't matter, as long as you kill you completely, it doesn't matter if the heretic god sect is destroyed. Lei Luo said coldly. As the leader of the heretic god sect, he is not like those mad believers, who can fearlessly die, and the light attribute energy from Lei Luo's hands seems to melt him. I said, I will tell you everything about the heretic god cult, please forgive me. The cultist of the heretic god cult finally relaxed. Lei Luo stopped when he heard the words, "Okay, tell me, if you don't have anything to hide, I will consider letting you go." Feeling that Lei Luo stopped, the leader of the evil gods sighed in relief, and then told Lei Luo the origin of the evil gods. It turned out that the leader of the evil god sect was named Wang Chuan, and he was a brother to Huang Izumi of the Land of Ghosts, and they could both borrow some of the power of the monster sprite. Transform the ninja into immortality through the curse formation. Yes, in fact, the so-called immortality is just a curse. The immortal body of the evil god sect is to imprison the soul in its own body through the power of the curse, and then strengthen the body and soul with the help of the vitality and spiritual power of a large number of living people. Once the immortal body is completed, the body and the soul will assimilate, and with the help of the soul's characteristics, the body can also be separated and reorganized like the soul. In the country of ghosts, since the sprites have been sealed by the witch, the power they can control is greatly reduced, and they only know that the soul of the sprite is sealed in the underground palace by the witch, but the demon body of sprite does not know where is it sealed. So he and Huang Izumi made a decision to split the army in two ways. Huang Izumi stayed in the country of ghosts, continued to develop and penetrate, and found a way to unblock the soul. On the other hand, he went to other places to create a cult, to develop power and to find the place where the demon body was sealed. Originally thought that now is the time of the Third Ninja War, the 5 major countries should be unable to take care of him, so that he can take the opportunity to develop. But what he didn't expect was that Lei Luo came to him as soon as he showed signs of development in Tangjiguo. After understanding the origin of the Cthulhu sect, Lei Luo finally resolved his inner doubts and also completed Anbu's investigation task. Light evasion, purification, pressed on Wang Chuan's head again, and he already knew the ins and outs. Lei Luo could safely eliminate the evil god sect. As for the Huang Izumi sect, it was impossible to come out for the time being, so let Sarutobi Hiruzen go get a headache. Ah, you don't trust me, didn't you say you wanted to let me go? Wang Chuan roared and struggled, but to no avail. Yeah, but I just said that I thought about letting you go. Now that I think about it, I don't think you scumbags deserve to live in this world. Lei Luo said in his mouth, constantly outputting chakra in his hands. One after another, black Yuhi-colored auras kept escaping from Wang Chuan's head, which was the cursed power of that undead body. Soon, Wang Chuan lost his movement. The black-robed cultist next to him was also imitated by Lei Luo, and his curse power was even weaker and was easily eliminated. Seal the bodies of these 2 people, our mission is complete. Lei Luo said to the 3 people beside him. Yes, Captain. Kiba nodded and took out the seal scroll to seal the bodies of Wang Chuan and the black-robed cultivator. Then I searched around in the cave and found nothing of value. Everyone walked out of the cave, looked at the bright sunshine outside, and relaxed a little. Lei Luo looked back at the cave behind him. Cthulhu, a religion that destroys humanity, should never exist in this world, so let him be buried here forever. Light escape. Laser cannon. His hands condensed a huge laser, hitting the support point in the cave. With the sound of rumbling, the cave collapsed, and the Cthulhu sect was truly buried forever. Let's go. You can still have a warm Izumi when you go back, and leave for the village tomorrow. Yes, Captain. Chapter 47 News from Kumogakure. Kanabe Bridge. Tangyan Village, a certain Wen Izumi. Oh. Lei Luo soaked in Wen Izumi and let out a sigh of relief. Now that the task has been completed, there is no need to be tense. Lei Luo gave the team members a half-day leave to let them relax by themselves, and then leave for the village tomorrow. The mist in Wen Izumi was hazy, and it looked very quiet under the moonlight. Lei Luo couldn't help but think of the first time he was in a private soup. Are Yuhi and Yugao okay? I wonder what the 2 of them are doing. Are they in the village? Or are they doing tasks outside? As his thoughts spread, the quiet environment made Lei Luo feel a little troubled and fell asleep unconsciously. The Land of Fire, Konoha Village. In the early morning, Lei Luo, as always, sweated like rain on the training ground and practiced physique. It has been a few days since Lei Luo returned to the village to submit the mission. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen had a headache after reading Lei Luo's mission report, it was an internal matter within the Kingdom of Ghosts, and Konoha was inconvenient to intervene. Lei Luo had some rest time and was able to continue practicing. Lei Luo is now 14.5 years old. At this stage, the basic practice is the most unstoppable. For ordinary ninjas, their minds gradually mature from ignorance. They are often very playful when they are young, and yearn for powerful ninjutsu when they are young, and they will not regret it until they are adults. Especially in times of war, although the pressure of war can stimulate some people's potential to explode, but lack of time to practice, these people's future achievements are very limited. Even Kakashi, who was known as a genius in his youth, stopped at the elite Jonin in his future achievements. The biggest advantage of Lei Luo is that he knows what he should do, and has formulated a training plan, forcing himself to strictly implement it. Although it is difficult to improve the basics, every improvement will be of great benefit to Lei Luo's future. In the next few years, Lei Luo's body will gradually mature, and the amount of chakra will continue to increase significantly at this stage. With the powerful prizes in the system, he may not be afraid of any conspiracy in the near future. At present, the war between Konoha and Iwagakure villages has basically stabilized. Jiraiya is fighting steadily on the front line. Although Iwagakure villages have been attacking fiercely, they have not been able to penetrate the borders of the Fire Country. The reason why the 3 generations of Hokage has not yet added troops to the front line is because there is a shocking news from Kumogakure village. The Killer Bee Jinchuriki column ran wild, and Kumogakure village suffered some losses as a result. Although the 3rd generation of Raikage subdued the 8 tails with strong strength, and also selected a new person Jinchuriki column force, but it is said that the 3rd generation of Raikage was severely injured in this battle, and is still in a coma until now. But the ninjutsu of the 3rd generation of Raikage shocked the ninja world, and anyone with a little common sense in the ninja world knows how strong the physique of the 3rd generation of Raikage is. The injury may be real, but it's not necessarily so bad that you're in a coma. Moreover, the news that Shadow of a village was seriously injured did not have any confidentiality measures, and it was spread so quickly that many people couldn't believe it. It is precisely because of the need to guard against Kumogakure village that the 3 generations of Hokage dare not make a rash decision. Just today, Lei Luo once again received a team mission from Anbu to protect 100 medical ninjas to support the front line and stay on the front line to perform the task. Because of the need to guard against other ninja villages, the 3rd generation of Hokage has no plans to increase troops for Jiraiya for the time being, and only asks Jiraiya to stabilize the battle situation and prevent Iwagakure village from breaking through the border of the Fire Nation. But with the massive attack on the village of Iwagakure, Jiraiya was also under a lot of pressure, and the casualties of the Konoha ninja were severe. In order to reduce Konoha's losses, first supporting a group of medical ninjas to arrive at the front line can also relieve Jiraiya's pressure. The Land of Fire occupies the center of the entire continent, with the most prosperous land and the most resources. But in the same way, once the time of war comes, those countries that are greedy for the prosperity of the Fire Nation will take the opportunity to take a bite when Konoha village is at its weakest. If the Hokages of all dynasties are not very good, and Konoha is constantly giving birth to geniuses, the country of fire would have been wiped out long ago. A few days later, Lei Luo's team arrived at the Konoha camp on the front line. First, go to the medical team and let them arrange accommodation. Then Lei Luo came to Jiraiya's camp alone to report to work. Lord Jiraiya, Anbu Black Shark was ordered to lead 100 medical ninjas to support the front line, now to report. Lei Luo said. Oh, great, you guys are finally here, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Jiraiya laughed immediately after seeing Lei Luo. Lord Jiraiya, this is the list of medical ninjas. Lei Luo handed over the information of 100 medical ninjas to Jiraiya. At this moment, Namikaze Minato walked in with his team. Oh Minato, you're back, how's the mission going? Jiraiya said, looking at Namikaze Minato who came in. Teacher, fortunately not to be disgraced, this task has been successfully completed. Namikaze Minato had a gentle smile on his face, which made people feel close. While Jiraiya and Namikaze Minato were talking, Lei Luo was looking at the three Kakashi whom they had not seen for a long time. Kakashi still has dead fish eyes. It seems that he has come out of the haze of White Fang's death, but Lei Luo doesn't know what he is thinking. On the other hand, Obito and Rin next to them are still the same, and they don't feel that they have changed much. They seem to have grown a little bit taller. Black Shark. Hearing Jiraiya's voice, Lei Luo came back to his senses. Lord Jiraiya, Lei Luo replied. I have a mission on my side that needs to be completed by your Anbu team and Minato team together. What do you think? Jiraiya looked at Lei Luo and asked. No problem, but what exactly is the mission? Now we are under a lot of offensive pressure from Iwagakure. Your mission this time is to form a clear and dark line with the Namikaze Minato team. The purpose is to destroy the supply line of Iwagakure village, Kanabi Bridge. Hearing this mission, Lei Luo also had a solemn expression. During the Third Ninja World War, Kanabi Bridge was the only way for Iwagakure's backup supply route. The shift brought by Minato in the original book carried out this task. The main purpose was to destroy the Kanabi Bridge and completely cut off the enemy's backup supply line. So Kakashi, who had just been promoted to Jonin, took his teammates to destroy the Kanabi Bridge. In the Battle of Kanabi Bridge, Kakashi was injured to save Obito's left eye. In the end, Obito gave his left eye Sharingan to Kakashi as a gift for Kakashi to be promoted to Jonin. After the Battle of Kanabi Bridge, Obito was recognized as dead, and Kakashi completely changed his outlook on life, and his cold-blooded personality gradually changed. Kakashi made full use of Obito's Sharingan, perfected his own ninjutsu, Chidori, Reikiri, and later got the title of Copy Ninja. Obito did not really die, but was rescued by Madara. After witnessing Rin's death in Kakashi's Reikiri, he followed Madara to learn ninjutsu. After Madara died, Madara manipulated and caught Akatsuki and caught behind the scenes as Madara and helped Madara implement and caught Moon the Eye plan. Be careful of the black hands of Uchiha Madara and Black Zetsu. Lei Luo thought to himself. After all, you just arrived at the base today, go down and have a good rest, and lead the Anbu team to set off tomorrow. Yes. Chapter 48_Caught Rin, a new system mission. In the land of grass, in the dense forest, three figures rushing through, it is the Namikaze Minato team who also received the Kanabi Bridge mission. However, due to the emergency situation on the front line, Namikaze Minato can only go to the front line to support the battlefield alone, and let Kakashi, who is now Jonin, led Rin and Obito to form a team to complete this mission. Kakashi, although Mr. Minato asked you to lead the team, you must know that my strength is not weaker than yours. I just didn't have time to take the Jonin exam. If I took the Jonin exam, I could also be promoted to Jonin. Uchiha Obito and Hitaki Kakashi walked side by side through the woods. Uchiha Obito said with a look of disapproval. Every time he saw Hirano Rin looking at Hitaki Kakashi with admiration on his face, he was very upset. He had also made up his mind secretly in his heart to surpass Hitaki Kakashi and show it to Yuan Rin. Kai. Suddenly, a dozen kunai flew out in midair and attacked Hitaki Kakashi, Uchiha Obito, and Hirano Rin. Kaden, Fire Style. Great Fireball Jutsu. Uchiha Obito's eyes narrowed, and he suddenly raised his hand seal, converting a large amount of chakra into Kaden, Fire Style chakra, and instantly spit out a huge fireball from his mouth. The hot fireball collided with the flying kunai, melting it directly, turning it into a little bit of iron juice and dripping to the ground. Not bad, Konoha kid, you can play Kaden, Fire Style ninjutsu. Ha ha ha, I just like to kill this poor kid. A dozen or so Iwagakure appeared around and surrounded the three of Kakashi. Iwagakure laughed and laughed, obviously not paying attention to the three Kakashi in front of them. Go, Jonin, the leader of Iwagakure, waved his hand and let everyone in Iwagakure shoot together. Several kunai and shuriken shot at Kakashi, but they were easily dodged. Konoha's little devil is a bit of a skill. Iwagakure Jonin was ruthless in his heart, and with the hand seal in his hand, the ground in front of him instantly swelled, and the Doden Earth-style Earth-long spear stabbed toward the three. Hand seal in Kakashi's hand, the ground in front of Doden Earth-style Earth-shore return was instantly raised, forming a stone wall to block the attacking Tulong gun. Good job, Kakashi. Uchiha Obito grinned happily. Then followed by hand seal with both hands, Kaden fire style. Phoenix Sage fire technique. I saw Obito continuously spewing fireballs from his mouth, attacking the Iwagakure crowd who came running. Damn, why are these little devils so difficult to deal with? Iwagakure Jonin looked gloomy as he looked at the Iwagakure crowd who had been pushed back by Obito. However, he saw a flash of lightning flash, Raiden thunder style. Reikiri, Kakashi's hands were full of lightning rays, piercing the bodies of the two Iwagakure directly. And Obito had also jumped in front of an Iwagakure, waved the kunai in his hand, and slit his throat. Ho ho! Iwagakure fell down clutching his neck, blood flowing from his fingers. This. The leader, Iwagakure Jonin, changed his expression. He didn't expect that he had underestimated the power of these two little devils just now. In the short confrontation, they lost a lot of personnel. Suddenly Iwagakure Jonin's eyes noticed Rin in the field on the side of the battlefield. This girl should be the best to deal with in their squad. Then he came directly behind Yuanyi Rin, and slashed Yuanyi Rin with a single strike. Rin. Obito looked shocked. Iwagakure Jonin kidnapped the hostages and had the mind to retreat, so he waved and directed Iwagakure to retreat. Boom, boom, boom. A puff of smoke erupted, and the ninjas of Iwagakure village suddenly disappeared. Kakashi, Rin was captured by the ninjas of Iwagakure village. Obito looked nervous, looked around, and found that Rin had disappeared with the ninjas of Iwagakure village. Damn. Kakashi and Obito looked solemn. They just focused on fighting for themselves, completely ignoring Rin. Kakashi, what are you waiting for? Let's hurry up and save Rin. Obito's face is tense when he learns that Rin has been kidnapped by the ninjas of Iwagakure village, and he completely forgets the task Namikaze Minato gave them. Companions are more important than mission Obito. Kakashi struggled for a long time, but he made up his mind and said, no. We have to finish the task first. Obito's eyes widened after hearing what Kakashi said. What did you say? Kakashi turned his head sideways, not daring to look Obito in the eyes. I said we'll finish the mission first, and then go save Rin. Obito was instantly furious and shouted at Kakashi, if you don't save me, I'll do it myself. Ninjas who can't complete their missions are trash, but ninjas who don't cherish their companions are even worse. After Obito finished speaking, he turned around, checked the surrounding traces, and rushed in the direction Iwagakure left. Kakashi ran in the direction of Canopy Bridge, but he ran slower and slower, and finally stopped and turned around. At the same time, the four of Lei Luoanbu's team were also rushing in the dense forest, rushing towards the direction of Canopy Bridge. Suddenly Lei Luo paused and stopped. Captain, what's wrong? Kiba looked at Lei Luo who stopped suddenly and asked. Lei Luo shook his head and said nothing. The reason why Lei Luo stopped suddenly was because just now, the long-lost system suddenly reminded Lei Luo in his mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host for triggering the mission to save Rin in the wilderness. Save Yuanyi Rin and change Yuanyi Rin's mortal ending. Task reward. God level lottery point *1. Lei Luo knew that something must have happened to the Kakashi team. It was estimated that Yuanyi Rin had been captured by Iwagakure village. And they and Kakashi team are on the same mission, the same route, should not be too far away, and Iwagakure's biggest possibility should be to capture Rin in a nearby stronghold. So Lei Luo asked Kiba, the dog in front of him, can you explore the nearby Iwagakure stronghold? Inu Kiba nodded and asked, Captain, what are we doing with the Iwagakure base? Lei Luo replied, I suddenly thought just now that we can take the opportunity to sneak up on the Iwagakure stronghold, disrupt their sight, and make it even harder for them to discover our intentions. Inu Kiba and the others felt that Lei Luo had some truth, so Inu Kiba summoned Silver Maru and hurried them to the nearby Iwagakure stronghold. When Lei Luo led the team to arrive, they found that the Iwagakure stronghold had fallen into chaos, and happened to meet Kakashi and Rin, who escaped. Lei Luo stepped forward to stop Kakashi and asked, "Where's Obito from your team?" Kakashi, who had been on guard, relaxed a little when he saw that Anbu, who he saw in the Jiraiya camp that day, was intercepting him. Then he said with a face full of remorse, "Obito sacrificed to save me." After listening to Kakashi's words, Lei Luo already understood everything. But what makes Lei Luo puzzled is that since Rin has been rescued, why hasn't his mission been completed yet? Chapter 49 Battle of Kanabi Bridge. Lei Luo heard Kakashi say that Obito was sacrificed. He knew that Uchiha Madara and Black Zetsu should have shot, but Kakashi didn't hurt his eyes this time, and Obito's eyes were not given to Kakashi. But this is actually a good thing for both of them. With dual Kamui, Obito will definitely be stronger than in the original. And Kakashi is less dragged by Sharingan, and his chakra should not be so nervous in the future, and he will not give up his own Hatake swordsmanship because of Sharingan and become a copy ninja and Konoha technician. But now Lei Luo doesn't have time to think so much, and their mission this time is to destroy the Kanabi Bridge, not to disturb the Iwagakure stronghold here. So, Lei Luo immediately took the team members, Kakashi and Rin, to the Kanabi Bridge. "Captain, the Kanabi Bridge is ahead," Kiba the dog whispered behind the haystack. Lei Luo looked ahead, and through the gap between the weeds, he could see a stone bridge spanning the sea. At the head of the bridge, Iwagakure stood densely. Kanabi Bridge is the most critical supply route for Iwagakure. Once destroyed, Iwagakure can only retreat. Such an important supply line will naturally stick to Iwagakure. "So many people, how do you fight?" Kakashi. Rin looked at Kakashi. Kakashi is very smart. Being a Jonin at the age of 12 is enough to prove his ability. He should have a way. However, seeing so many people, Kakashi shook his head helplessly. This was an absolute number suppression. There were only 6 of them. No matter how sophisticated their tactics were, they couldn't cross the Iwagakure defensive line and blow up the bridge. Rin is very disappointed. Even Kakashi can't do anything about it. How to complete the task? If the teacher is there, there may be hope, alas. "Don't worry, I have a solution," Lei Luo said. Everyone turned their attention to Lei Luo, wanting to know what he said. Although Iwagakure has a large number of personnel, most of them are genin, which poses little threat to us. You guys, Kiba, harass the enemy from the front and attract attention. And I can summon my psychic beast from the river under the Kanabi Bridge, attack directly from under the bridge, and blast it. In this way, not only will the Kanabi Bridge be destroyed, but the Iwagakure above the bridge will not feel any better. After completing the task, we can immediately retreat through the river, so that the other side cannot pursue it. When everyone heard this, they all felt that Lei Luo's arrangement was reasonable, and they all agreed. Afterwards, Kiba and the others rushed directly towards Kanabi Bridge, raising their hands to reveal a few kunai, with detonating charms tied behind them. Boom bang bang. Several explosions sounded, and Iwagakure did not pay attention, and several genins were injured and lost their combat effectiveness. Enemy attack. Iwagakure Jonin at the Kanabi Bridge stronghold shouted loudly, and the other Iwagakure on the bridge gathered in the direction of Kiba and the others. HMPH, Konoha sent so many people to destroy Kanabi Bridge. Even if all 5 of them are Jonin, they will die. Give it all to me. With an order, most of the Iwagakure rushed up. For such an important stronghold as Kanabi Bridge, Iwagakure naturally would not take it lightly, and still left some elites to be vigilant. Konoha dares to take the initiative to attack with only a few people. There must be a conspiracy. Iwagakure's person in charge thought, so he raised a lot of vigilance. In the front, the battlefield dog Kiba had already taken over with Iwagakure. On the battlefield, snakes were scurrying and fireballs were flying. Kakashi had also raised his knife and killed many people in Iwagakure. And Iwagakure is so numerous that they dare not use large-scale ninjutsu to prevent accidental injury. On the other hand, Kiba and the others have no scruples. After all, their purpose is to attract attention. While evading around very flexibly, they continue to release ninjutsu to kill Iwagakure. Iwagakure looked at the slippery dog Kiba in front of him, and he also had a headache, so he waved his hand and let the two Jonin beside him also attack. What they didn't know was that Lei Luo had come to the upper reaches of the Kanabi Bridge River. Summon Tam. A Uzumaki appeared on the river under the bridge, and Tam drilled directly from the Uzumaki. Tam, who appeared this time, actually wore a chef's uniform, like a 5-star chef. Long time no see, master, I'm cooking. Tam directly connected with Lei Luo in his mind. Long time no see, Tam, our purpose this time is to destroy the bridge over there. Your main task later is to pick up us and send us away. Lei Luo replied. No problem, master. Lei Luo took Tam from the river to dive under the Kanabi Bridge. Watching the chaotic scene on the bridge, Lei Luo's hands condensed light escape. Laser cannon, a thick laser shot up into the sky. What? The person in charge of Iwagakure, who was standing by the bridge, seemed to have a gleam in the corner of his eyes, and noticed that something seemed to fly up from under the bridge, and then he lost consciousness. Unfortunately, he was hit by Lei Luo's laser cannon, and instantly melted with the bridge deck below him, while Kanabi Bridge was penetrated by a large hole. Sir! The ninja beside the head of Iwagakure shouted in horror, looking at the head of Iwagakure who disappeared in an instant. Light escape. 8-footed Joan Tomo. Lei Luo waved his hands, and countless light bullets hit the Kanabi Bridge, making it crumbling. There are enemies under the bridge. The bridge is about to collapse, run away. The remaining ninjas on the bridge instantly fell into a panic. The Kanabi Bridge was crumbling and it was no longer safe, and there were unknown enemies under the bridge, who would die if they fell. Looking at the Kanabi Bridge above his head, Lei Luo sneered at the corner of his mouth, try my newly developed trick. The chakra in his hand was continuously input into Higher-Inmaru, and the golden light on Higher-Inmaru made it difficult to look directly, and Lei Luo finally swung the knife. Light escape. Moon Kiba Sky Crush. A huge golden sword light slashed out, slashing above Kanabi Bridge with terrifying heat and penetration, cutting it directly. Lei Luo was developed by imitating the principle of the Moon Kiba Tianchong, the protagonist of the God of Death, Ichigo Kurosaki, by condensing the light attribute chakra in the knife, and then releasing it in one breath through slashing, thus forming a huge golden sword that can cut through everything. The disadvantage of this move is that it needs to be charged, and the quality of the knife is relatively high. It needs to be able to withstand the huge energy condensed without being damaged, and Lei Luo's Higher-Inmaru is just enough to withstand it. The broken Kanabi Bridge fell into the river, causing huge waves. Many Iwagakure who did not escape also fell off the bridge. They had nowhere to take advantage of in the air and could not resist. They were called out by Lei Luo's laser light, screamed and fell into the river, turning into corpses one after another. Mission accomplished. Withdraw. Chapter 50_Awakened Obito, Enlightened Kakashi. Hearing Lei Luo's cry and looking at the broken Kanabi Bridge in front of him, Kiba, Kakashi and others knew that the mission had been completed. Confluence. On the bank of the runway, looking at Iwagakure who was still chasing behind him, Kakashi and the others jumped down without hesitation, and jumped into the mouth of Tam who was receiving him below. Looking at the few people who were only slightly injured, Lei Luo breathed a sigh of relief, then said to Tam in his mind, Tam, let's go. Tam whirled and dived and disappeared directly under the river, while Iwagakure on the shore was helpless. Rin. Obito jerked up from the bed, panting heavily. Am I not dead? Obito's memory is still stuck in the previous time when he was crushed under the boulder. Obito raised his hand and touched the right half of his body, but found that it was a white substance like a plant. Are you awake? Obito raised his head when he heard the sound, but saw two strange men in white, the same as his right half, standing beside the bed in front of him. Looking around the room, I found that in the corner of the next room, there was an old man leaning on a chair, as if he had fallen asleep. "Did you save me?" Obito asked. "That's right, but it's precisely our master who saved you," said a strange white man with a spiral face. "You can call me Faye." And the white weirdo next to him didn't say a word, just stared straight at Obito. "How are you feeling now?" Faye asked. "Of course it sucks." Obito sighed back. Then he sat up straight, leaned against the head of the bed, and asked, "How long has it been since I came here?" "It must have been a long time." Faye said with a smile, "You don't have to pay the rent, don't worry. We who were born from golems don't have to eat, spend money, or go to the toilet anyway." Obito responded emotionally, "But it can't be like this, compare me to you. I only have this inexplicable thing on the right half of my body." The weirdo next to Faye smiled, "Thanks to it, you can survive without eating or drinking, but I think you should be lucky." Faye also responded, "Yes, I don't want to be compared with you. Yours is an artificial body without emotions, and we are artificial humans with emotions." Then he swayed from side to side, made various funny gestures, and continued, "And we know more about jokes than you, have more vocabulary, and have smarter minds than you, even though we can't poop." "Shut up," Obito said, pulling his face. "Then let's talk about it. How are you more advanced than me?" Faye and the weirdo next to him looked at each other, then turned to Obito and said excitedly, "We're watching you." Obito was instantly furious. "I'm so pissed off at the same time." Faye continued, "The reason why I am here to help you recover from the 2 sessions is because Madara ordered us to help you recover to the extent that he can be used by him before he wakes up." "Cut," Obito said disdainfully, "let you 2 lip-smacking puppets monitor me, and the old man himself only knows how to sleep." Then the intact left hand clenched a fist. "I must escape from this place and find Rin and Kakashi." He raised his head and asked Faye, "Where can I go out?" Faye waved his hand and said, "There is no way out, there is no exit. After Madara ordered us to bring you here, they blocked the door with a huge rock." "It's blocked." Obito looked surprised. The weirdo next to Faye suddenly said, "By the way, you kept shouting, 'Rin, Rin, Arin' in your sleep, do you think you wanted to pick up the bell outside?" Faye also said, "By the way, you keep talking about, idiot Kakashi, and so on. What is an idiot Kakashi?" Then the 2 weirdos in front of them suddenly chatted on their own. Obito looked at the strange person in front of him, his face full of helplessness. "By the way, what are you doing to save me and then lock me up here and prevent me from going out?" Faye replied, "Didn't I say it? Madara wants to create a dream world, because it is a dream, anything is possible, such as resurrecting the dead, and then allowing everyone in the world to join in, or pull them all in and you can live the life you want in your dreams." Quote. Obito doesn't believe it at all. How is it possible to do such a thing? Faye replied, "With Madara's strength, nothing is impossible, but he is old now and needs to do some preparations, and then use demonic illusion to create a dream world." Obito said irritably, "Demonic illusion? It's so complicated. You guys said something and you can't understand it. It has nothing to do with me." Then he moved out of bed and stood on the ground, but he stumbled. "Damn, I have to take control of this body, I have to go out and find Kakashi and Rin." I worked hard to stand up straight, using my willpower to control my body and exercise myself. Country of Grass, Konoha Camp. Kakashi sat in the tent, staring at the goggles in his hand, wondering what he was thinking. Namikaze Minato opened the curtain and walked in, looked at Kakashi and said, "Kakashi, are you still thinking about Obito?" Kakashi raised his head and looked at Namikaze Minato. "Minato, sensei, which is more important, the task priority rule or teammates?" Namikaze Minato sighed, sat next to Kakashi, and said, "Kakashi, rules and regulations do matter, but that's not everything. As I told you, depending on the situation, it is sometimes necessary to adapt to the situation. Although Lord White Fang committed suicide due to rumors in the village after the failure of the mission, in my opinion, there is nothing wrong with Lord White Fang. Although I don't know what Mr. White Fang was thinking at the time, these are all things in the past, and it's unnecessary to say it. But don't blame yourself too much about Obito. Obito sacrificed for the village and is a hero of Konoha. After returning to the village, his name will be engraved on the memorial tablet, and what you have to do is take Obito's willing to go on well and protect Rin. Quote. Looking at Kakashi, who bowed his head and said nothing, Namikaze Minato didn't say anything, patted Kakashi on the shoulder, think about it for yourself. Then he got up and walked out of the tent. And Kakashi's hand holding the goggles is getting tighter and tighter. Slap, a tear dripped on the goggles. Chapter 51 Onoki's decision, Kumogakure declares war. Land of Earth, Tsuchikage Building. The third generation of Tsuchikage Onoki lost his temper in the office. It's all a bunch of rubbish. Let Konoha and a few people destroy the Kanabi Bridge. Are all the guarding ninjas eating shit? Anbu in front of Onoki is only the captain of the intelligence team of Iwagakure Ninja Village. He is only responsible for the information distribution and processing of Iwagakure Ninja Village, so he can't answer Onoki's roaring question. And it's this Guangdun again, and this damned guy, who has repeatedly sabotaged our key operations. Have you found any information about him? In the face of the furious Onoki, Iwagakure Anbu didn't dare to speak out. After hearing Onoki's question, he raised his head and replied cautiously, I'm sorry, Lord Tsuchikage, we still haven't found any specific information about him. Onoki got even more angry when he heard Anbu's answer in front of him, trash, you are also a bunch of trash, it's been so long. You can't find any information, what's the use of asking you? Forget it. Onoki vented for a long time and finally calmed down. Go and call Laozi, Han and Lois for me. Yes, Lord Tsuchikage. Anbu immediately ran out as if he was liberated after listening to the order. Not long after, Laozi, Han, and Lois gathered in Tsuchikage's office. Onoki said, now our material supply in the country of grass has been temporarily cut off by Konoha, and the situation on the frontline battlefield has been in a state of anxiety. Do you have any solution to the current predicament? Laozi listened to Onoki's words without saying a word, and Han also lowered his head in thought. And only Lois replied, Old man, there are only two solutions to our current situation. Onoki nodded at Lois's words. What method did you say? So Lois continued, the first way is to make peace with Konoha and sign a truce. Lois was interrupted by Onoki before he could finish speaking. It is impossible to negotiate with Konoha, otherwise the 2 years of war will not be fought for nothing. Lois hummed, then said, then there is only the second way, to form an alliance with Kumogakure and attack the Land of Fire together. Laozi and Han all raised their heads when they heard the words. Laozi took the lead and said, Kumogakure is not a quiet person, it is not necessarily good or bad for them to join the war. And didn't it say that the 3 generations of Reikage were seriously injured? Whether they want it or not is uncertain. Quote. Han went on to say, I think it's okay, Kumogakure will join the war sooner or later, rather than not knowing whether it is an enemy or a friend. It is better to form an alliance first to prevent them from stabbing in the back. The 3 of you spoke your opinions one by one, and Tsuchikagenoki the 3rd generation pondered for a long time and finally made a decision. Okay, you don't have to quarrel anymore, I've decided to form an alliance with Kumogakure and attack the country of fire together. Lois, take your team to Kumogakure village to discuss the alliance. Yes. More than 10 days later, Lois and his Iwagakure delegation successfully arrived at Yunmen Gorge. Kumogakure belongs to the Land of Thunder, one of the 5 great kingdoms. The whole village is built on the hillside, the climate is warm and cloudy, and most of the ninjas in the village have dark skin and are good at Raiden Thunder style and ninjutsu. Cloud Gate Gorge is the only way to enter Kumogakure village. When Lois arrived at Yunmen Gorge, The three figures quickly moved from the Yunmen Gorge post to this side and came to the front of Lois and his group. Ninjas of Iwagakure, what is your purpose in coming to the Land of Thunder? The ninjas of Kumogakure village asked aloud. Lois replied formally, we are the Iwagakure mission, and I am the leader of the team, Iwagakure Jonin Lois. I was entrusted by Lord Tsuchikage to visit Lord Raikage. There are important things to discuss. The leading Kumogakure ninja on the opposite side nodded, then come with me. Lois and his party followed the Kumogakure ninja all the way to the Kumogakure village to meet the three generations of Raikage. Looking at the three generations of Raikage in front of him, although there is nothing unusual, the huge scar on his chest shows that the serious injury in the previous rumors is not groundless. The three generations of Raikage are known as the strongest spear, and the strongest shield, and I don't know who can hurt him. Lois was curious. He didn't show anything strange, but solemnly explained his intention to the third generation of Raikage, and the third generation of Raikage said that he would think about it, and let Lois and his group go down to rest first. Then the third generation of Raikage immediately called the Kumogakure high-level meeting. In Raikage's office, three generations of Raikage said, Iwagakure wants to form an alliance with our Kumogakure and attack the country of fire together. Do you think you should agree? The current Killer Bee Jinchuriki column interface said, promise, haven't we Kumogakure been waiting for a chance to join the war? I think now is the time. I don't think it is possible. Onoki is not a good thing. The village of Iwagakure came to us to form an alliance for no reason. There must be a conspiracy. A Kumogakure executive said, although we want to join the war, we don't need to form an alliance with Iwagakure. Yes, there must be a conspiracy. Several voices agreed. Humph, when did we Kumogakure become so cowardly? We are not afraid of any conspiracy. Bujubi looked disdainful. Better than adults. Bang! The third generation of Raikage slapped the table, and everyone seemed to be pressing the Shizune key and stopped talking. Three generations of Raikage glanced at everyone present and said, no matter what conspiracy Onoki has, since they are here, we Kumogakure can't be afraid to back down. Form an alliance with Iwagakure and declare war on Konoha, that's it. Mobilize everyone. Assemble the army. Prepare for battle. Yes. Kumogakure has officially declared war on Konoha. Lei Luo heard the news. He didn't feel any surprise. For this country, which has always been fierce in its folk customs and extremely belligerent, it is also expected to join the war. And Lei Luo is now in Jiraiya's camp. Now that Kumogakure has declared war, and Iwagakure's offensive has been suspended, Konoha will inevitably transfer some of his staff from the front line of the grass country to go to the front line of the war with Kumogakure. Minato, you will lead the team selected this time. This is the decision of the village. Is there any problem? Jiraiya said to Namikaze Minato in front of him. Namikaze Minato shook his head. Teacher, I have no problem, but can the situation on your side hold up? Jiraiya smiled. Haha, don't worry, Minato. Then Jiraiya turned his head and said to Lei Luo, Black Shark, the village has decided that your Anbu team will also be transferred to the Kumogakure battlefield, and the village will also send other Anbu teams to support, so you can go with Minato. Lei Luo nodded. No problem, Lord Jiraiya. At the same time, Konoha also assembled a ninja army of more than 3,000 people in the village, including family ninjas such as Uchiha and Hyuga, who were led by Orochimaru to the battlefield. Chapter 52 Madara's plan, Kurigakure shot. In the dark underground space, Uchiha Madara woke up. Well, how long has it been? It was difficult to feel the passage of time in the dark underground space, and Uchiha Madara also felt that his energy was not as good as the day, even if he relied on Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, to continue his life. It was almost impossible to maintain it, and had to fall into a deep sleep often. A dark figure stood in front of Madara and said, Lord Madara, it's been more than 2 months. Uchiha Madara raised her head, her aged face expressionless. Has it been another 2 months? Time is running out. Black Zetsu, what happened to the child who was rescued earlier? Black Zetsu replied. His body has almost recovered, but in his current state, I am afraid it is difficult to accept your will, Madara-sama. Uchiha Madara looked at Black Zetsu and asked, well, what can you do then? Black Zetsu smiled and said, if Obito can see Rin die at Kakashi's hands, that's fine. Nodded after hearing the words, how is the control of Kurigakure village doing? Black Zetsu bowed his head and replied, everything is under control. Several people in key positions have been replaced by White Zetsu, and they will never find out. Then let Kurigakure do it this time. The Land of Water, Kurigakure Village, Mizukage Office. 3 generations of Mizukage looked at the information in his hand, lowered his head and pondered for a long time, and then called a meeting with the top management of Kurigakure. At the beginning of the meeting, the 3 generations of Mizukage said straight to the point. Anbu sent a piece of information and found traces of the 3 tails in the country of the moon, but now the country of the moon has become a battlefield between Kumogakure and Konoha. What do you think we should do? The owner of the ghost lamp said, Sanwei was originally a tailed beast belonging to our country of water. I think we should send someone to capture Sanwei. Patriarch Shui Wuyu was obviously not on the right path with Patriarch Ghost Lamp, so he retorted, catch it back. What you said is easy, how to catch it, is there a suitable person, Jinchuriki column. Kurigakure village had a good temper, and they quarreled on the spot. At this moment, a high-level Kurigakure spoke up. Don't quarrel between the 2 masters, I have an idea here. The 3 generations of Mizukage came to be interested. Karataki's head, come and listen. Karataki family said, although we in Kurigakure have not found a suitable Jinchuriki column force for the time being, Konoha has it. The 3rd generation of Mizukage waved his hand. Konoha has the right person Jinchuriki column force. What does it have to do with us, and it can't be used by me. Karataki family continued. Now that Konoha is fighting against Kumogakure, we can seal the 3 tails in the body of the Konoha ninja and control him to go back and wreak havoc in Konoha. In this way, Konoha will definitely suffer a lot of casualties, and our country of water may also suffer. Be able to profit from it. Quote. Besides, the 7 ninja knives were killed by Konoha Anbu in a sneak attack before, and the 4 ninja knives were also captured by Konoha. We must avenge this revenge. The 3rd generation of Mizukage heard the words of the Karataki family, and was obviously moved, but he still asked, what about the seal? Our country of water does not have such a strong sealing technique. Karataki family said with a smile, Lord Mizukage, there is a magic tool in the Matsuri altar of water in our country, called the shark Madaka pot. It was the magic tool that was able to seal the muscle of the shark, and it is also possible to seal the 3 tails. Besides, we don't need such a perfect seal. The 3rd generation of Mizukage also made up his mind. Then this operation will be arranged by you, the Karataki patriarch. Karataki family, yes, Mizukage-sama. Seeing Rin and Kakashi soon. Obito moved around in the room, feeling mostly recovered. At this moment, Afe suddenly emerged from the wall of the room. Then he turned to Obito and said, I just went outside, and that Rin and idiot Kakashi you mentioned are in a bad situation. What? Obito looked nervous. What happened? Afe replied, he was surrounded by the ninjas of Kurigakure village alone. Obito jumped up, ran towards the door of the room, and punched the rock at the door with his right hand. However, the white arm on the right body broke directly and fell to the ground. Afe stood behind Obito and said, with your current body, you can't break the rock. Obito clutched his right arm, enduring the pain. I'm going to save Rin and Kakashi. Afe was stunned when he heard the words, and then said, put on my body. The whole person disintegrated instantly, turning into strips of white matter, wrapping Obito. Aren't you Madara's men? Is this okay? Obito asked. Aren't you going to save Rin and Kakashi? Obito clenched his fist, felt the state of the body, and said, thank you so much. Then he walked to the door of the room, stood still, and punched the rock at the door. Boom! There was a loud bang, and the rocks shattered to the ground. Uchiha Madara woke up again after hearing the sound, came behind Obito and asked, "Are you going?" Obito didn't look back. "I appreciate you saving me, but I have to go, I have to go." Uchiha Madara said, "You're in such a hurry, it's too early to thank me." Obito turned his head and said, "I don't think I'll be coming back, but I've already said my thanks, and I'm going." Uchiha Madara looked at Obito with gloomy eyes. You will definitely come back, and then I will accept your true thanks." Obito ignored Madara, but turned to a Fei who was only half length and said, "White guy, where are Rin and Kakashi? Take me there immediately." A Fei opened his mouth and said, "The one attached to you is my clone. We can communicate through telepathy within a certain distance, and there are other clones distributed all over the ground to exchange information. I will use your clone to lead you on the way. Go outside first." Obito opened his mouth and replied, "Please." Then he took the clothes and ran out, while Uchiha Madara looked at Obito's back without a single glance, lowered his head again and fell into a deep sleep. At the same time, in the Konoha base on the Kumogakure battlefield, Leiluo also learned that Rin was captured again, and Kakashi went to the rescue but fell into the siege of Kurigakure together. The battle was fierce on the front line, and Namikaze Minato couldn't leave to go to the rescue. So, Namikaze Minato found Leiluo, hoping that he would help the two Kakashi rescue. "Black Shark, I know that your light escape is very fast. You should be able to arrive in time, Kakashi and Rin will ask you." Leiluo also knew in his heart that it was up to him to change Rin's mortal fate, so he agreed. "Don't worry, leave it to me." Chapter 53_Rescue. Awaken. In the mountains and forests, Uchiha Obito jumped and flew between the trees, the mountain wind whistling in his ears. "How is Rin and Kakashi doing now?" Obito asked Fei telepathically. Fei replied, "According to my companion's information, it seems to be quite dangerous. What they say about the experimental subjects in the village of Kurigakure or something, but I don't understand it." Obito asked suspiciously, "Experimental subject?" Fei said, "Anyway, Rin and Kakashi were surrounded by dozens of people, and they were all Jonin and Anbu." Obito asked again, "What is Mr. Minato doing?" Fei wondered, "Who is that?" Obito explained, "I ask you what the yellow flash is doing." Fei understood. "Oh, it seems to be performing other tasks." Obito bit Kiba. At this time, "Kakashi, you promised me, you must do your best to protect Rin. Hold on, I'll be there right away." Obito growled inwardly. Damn. A Konoha Chunin rested against the boulder while Kakashi bandaged his arm. There were several rounds of Kurigakure Anbu's corpse lying next to him, apparently just after a battle. "You stay here," Kakashi said. "Captain, let's wait for reinforcements together," Konoha Chunin said to Kakashi. Kakashi shook his head, "There's no time," and looked at Kurigakure's body next to him. Kurigakure took Rin to make her a test subject for an experiment. "Once brought into Kurigakure, we can't save her. Konoha Chunin said, "You can't save her alone." Kakashi replied, "I'm not alone." Hand seal in Kakashi's hand, he pressed it to the ground. Spiritualism, a puff of smoke dissipated, and 8 ninja dogs of different breeds and sizes appeared in front of him. It was his 8 ninja dogs. Kakashi asked Parker, "What about Rin's scent?" Parker replied, "I remember, don't worry." Then Kakashi turned his head to Konoha Chunin and said, "Reinforcements are here, please tell them, we'll go after Rin first." Konoha Chunin responded, "Understood." As a result, the 8 ninjas pursued the smell, followed Kakashi all the way, and finally found the trace of Kurigakure near a cave. Kakashi hid behind the stone and looked at Kurigakure Anbu, who was on guard near the cave, and knew in his heart that Rin must be in the cave. Kakashi pointed to the Hachi Inu and whispered in the other direction, and the Hachi Inu understood his intentions. Just as the vigilant Kurigakure Anbu was attracted by the moving Hachimaninen, Kakashi threw a kunai tied with a detonating talisman behind Kurigakure Anbu. Boom! Konoha! It's Konoha's ninja! Another group of Kurigakure Anbu ran out of the cave, chasing in the direction of the 8 ninja dogs. Kakashi looked at Kurigakure Anbu who was being led away, and said to himself, "Very good, just lead the enemy away like this." Then he slipped into the cave quietly. Parker, who followed Kakashi's side, continued to pass the scent, guiding Kakashi's direction, and finally they found Rin. Rin was tied to a stake by Kurigakure's men, with no one guarding him. Kakashi didn't think much, ran over and helped Rin untie. "Rin," Kakashi called softly, but Rin didn't respond. Looking at Rin's eyes, he found that demonic illusion should have controlled his consciousness. Unlock. Kakashi hand seal unlocked demonic illusion and Rin regained consciousness. Kakashi. Rin called out looking at Kakashi in front of him. Go. Kakashi pulled Rin and ran out of the cave. The two running out were blocked by Kurigakure Anbu. "It's Konoha's ninja, and the captive is with him," said one Kurigakure Anbu. Seeing Kurigakure Anbu, Kakashi directly pulled Rin and turned to the other passages. Then the fingers flipped and a large rock fell, blocking Kurigakure Anbu's pursuers, and the two ran out. "The two have reunited with the Hachi Inu again," Parker said. "Let's go, let's get the pursuers away." Kakashi nodded. "Please," Parker said in a relaxed tone. "It's a small matter, if we are overtaken, we just need to retreat." Kakashi turned to Rin and said, "Go, Rin." Rin looked a little uncomfortable, touched his heart, and said, "Kakashi, I seem something is wrong." Kakashi replied, "Anyway, hurry up and run now, and talk about the rest later." Disperse. Hachi Inu and Kakashi dispersed and ran away separately. Kakashi and Rin were jumping between the mountains and forests, and Rin suddenly said, "Kakashi, I can feel as if there is another creature inside me." Kakashi turned his head and asked, "What do you mean?" Rin replied, "I can't tell. Previously, Kurigakure wanted to perform some kind of ritual on me, some kind of special ritual, but I was deprived of consciousness." Kurigakure caught up behind him, yelling not to run or something. Just then, Rin was shocked. "I can't go back to Konoha." Kakashi asked suspiciously, "What did you say?" Rin shouted at Kakashi, "Kakashi, kill me now." Kakashi was taken aback. "What are you talking about, Rin?" Rin said solemnly, "I was used, and if I go back, I will probably attack Konoha." Kakashi shook his head. "I promised Obito to protect you, I can't do this kind of thing." Then he continued, "There must be other ways. In short, get out now." Kakashi stopped, turned his head and said, "I'll hold them down." Then he turned back and rushed towards the enemy, throwing a few kunai, blocking Kurigakure Anbu who was chasing. But it was easily blocked. "Haha, Konoha ninja, are you alone trying to hold us down?" One Kurigakure Anbu scoffed. Kakashi didn't speak, but charged up again. The two sides came and went, and Kurigakure Anbu was actually dragged by Kakashi alone, but Kakashi also felt that his strength was draining a lot, and it was estimated that he would soon be unable to hold on. Thinking of this, Kakashi quickly hand-sealed, his right hand burst with dazzling thunder, Raiden Thunder style. Reikiri, and charged towards Kurigakure Anbu in front of him. But at this moment, a figure suddenly inserted into Kakashi's attack line, and Kakashi's right hand penetrated his chest. Kakashi stopped to look at the target of the stab, his pupils dilated instantly. At this moment, Obito just arrived and saw this scene. Tomo in Obito Sharingan instantly melts and transforms into a mysterious pinwheel pattern. Rin. Chapter 54 In Hell, Lei Luo is here. Kakashi. Rin spat out a mouthful of blood and sprayed it on Kakashi's face. Kakashi pulled his hand out of Rin's chest, then supported Rin's body. But Kakashi was also exhausted and collapsed along with Rin and passed out. "Damn it, he got it," said a Kurigakure Anbu, looking at the fallen Rin and Kakashi. We managed to get it. Another Kurigakure Anbu interjected. Obito looked at everything in front of him and couldn't accept it. Here, what exactly is this place? Powerful chakra spewed out of him, exuding a powerful aura that attracted the attention of Kurigakure Anbu, and countless wooden thorns suddenly grew on the right half of his body, piercing his clothes and drilling out. Who? Reinforcements. Kurigakure Anbu talked a lot. Idiot, he's all alone. A Kurigakure Anbu threw dozens of thousands of copies directly at Obito, but went straight through Obito's body. What's the situation? Dodged. Kurigakure Anbu looked surprised. Obito charged directly towards the Kurigakure crowd. Don't underestimate our Kurigakure. A Kurigakure Anbu slashed directly at Obito with a knife. But it was directly dodged by Obito, punched on the body, and countless wooden thorns burst out from the body, becoming a wooden hedgehog. Go to hell. Several Kurigakure Anbu came to Obito's head and stabbed directly with a knife, but they passed through once again. Then Obito a Konoha gang force whirlwind to settle them all. What's the matter? What strange move? At least the woman must be recovered, and the body must not be handed over to the enemy. Damn it, why can't I hit him? Withdraw, withdraw. Several Kurigakure Anbu showed their bodies and swept towards Rin, trying to recover Rin's body. Obito's eyes suddenly became anxious, and he hand-sealed, Mokuten, wood style. The technique of sticking sticks, with both hands. The thorns exploded directly in Kurigakure Anbu's body, killing him instantly. Obito looked at this ninjutsu technique that Obito used without a teacher, and thought to himself, Obito, I finally know why Madara chose you. Obito reached out and pulled the other Kurigakure Anbu over, put his knees on his face, smashed his mask directly, and then hit him with punch after punch. That guy, who is it? Kurigakure Anbu wondered. But Obito in front of him got up again, glanced at everyone present, and hand-sealed with both hands. In the next second, countless trees rose into the sky, piercing all Kurigakure Anbu, and blood flowed from the trees. Obito burst into tears. I get it. I'm in hell. Obito, it's time for us to go back. You don't have much power left in your body. Be careful that Kurigakure has other people to support you. Ah-Fei said. Obito didn't answer, and followed Ah-Fei's guidance like a walking corpse and returned to Uchiha Madara's underground base. Just after Obito left, Lei Luo finally arrived and was instantly shocked when he saw the hellish scene in front of him. But he came back to his senses immediately and saw Rin and Kakashi lying in the woods. Light escape. 8-foot mirror. Lei Luo came directly to the two of them with a beam of light. Glancing at Kakashi, there were no obvious wounds on his body. He must have passed out due to exhaustion, so Lei Luo ignored it and went directly to check on Rin's status. The chest was punctured, there was too much blood loss, there were very few signs of life, and the three tails in the body had disappeared, but the vitality of the chakra left in the three tails still allowed her to survive until this time, and there was a little bit of vitality left. There's still a breath, I remember there was that thing. Lei Luo took out the fairy beans from the system space and fed it to Rin. As expected of immortal beans, the effect was immediate. After eating immortal beans, Rin's injuries continued to recover, even the penetrating wound on his chest recovered. Looking at the restored Rin, the system prompt finally sounded in Lei Luo's mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the mission to save Nohara Rin, changing his mortal fate, and getting the mission reward God level lottery point *1. The mission has finally been completed. It's not easy. This is the first time that it took months to complete. Obito should have returned to Uchiha Madara again. Forget it, leave him alone and retreat first. Then Lei Luo directly carried Rin on his back, and then left with Kakashi. It was getting late, and it was impossible to get back to the front line of Konoha. Lei Luo found a place near the water source in the forest and stopped for a while. Lei Luo lit a bonfire, looked at Kakashi and Rin lying beside him who had not woken up, recalled what happened today, and then called out the system. System, I want to draw a lottery. The system seemed to be closed, and the lottery ***** appeared directly. I saw that the 6 prizes above are S-Class Weapon, Zanpakuto Senbon Sakura. S-Class Item, Collapsing Jade. S-Level Skill, 7-Day Call. S-Class Item, The Eye of Straight Death. S-Class Equipment, Taigu *5 Vision Omnipotent Observer. S-Class Weapon, Zanpakuto Kyoka Suzuki. Lei Luo used his consciousness to click on the compass to see the origin of each of the 6 prizes. Zanpakuto Senbon Sakura is Zanpakuto of Byakuya Kuchiki, the captain of Gotei 13th and 6th Division in the world of Shinigami. It materializes as a samurai wearing a ferocious mask, with a headdress of cherry blossom petals on his head. After liberation, it will turn into countless invisible thin blades, which is hard to prevent. Bangyu, also from the world of death, is a magical gem. Bangyu has self-awareness, can absorb and materialize the heart that exists around itself, and can protect the host's body from death and immortality. When the host's ability reaches its limit or life is threatened, Bangyu can make the host endlessly. Evolution to the next dimension. 7-Day Breathing is a special body technique in the Hokage world. It is a body technique created by Violet through breathing, which activates the whole body by absorbing a lot of oxygen, similar to the 8 inner gates. The Demon Eye of Straight Death is a special ability from the Moon world, and it is one of the forms of the weapon of causality on humans. There are dead lines and dead spots on everything seen by the Devil's Eye of Death. This is the image of the death of things in the Devil's Eye of Death, not the product of electromagnetic waves acting on your visual cells. There is a direct death, and at the same time, the same method is used to attack the dead line, and the result is completely different. When the wielder of straight death slashes the dead line of things with a sharp blade, things will be separated along the dead line, which is the reason for the separation, by the result of death, so it cannot be stopped nor restored. And use a sharp blade to directly attack the point of death of things, and things will end immediately. Taigu *5 Vision Omnipotent Observer, from the world of Yuhi, SI, is a Taigu with 5 abilities: whole vision, farsightedness, perspective, future vision, and illusion. Whole vision can see through the other person's mind by observing expressions, farsightedness can see things in the distance, perspective can ignore obstacles to see the target, future vision can see the next situation through the subtle movements of muscles, illusion can make the other party sees hallucinations. Zanpakuto Kyoka Suzuki is the Zanpakuto of Aizen Sosuke in the world of death, known as the strongest Zanpakuto in the hallucination system. Its ability is total hypnosis, dominates the opponent's 5 senses, making it completely believe what the master wants in the appearance, form, quality, feel, and even smell of a particular object. After learning about it, Lei Luo directly started the lottery. Ding! Congratulations to the host for getting Chapter 55_Taigu. Obito, decision. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the S-Class equipment, Taigu *5 Vision Observer. The copyright of the novel resource belongs to the original author. The text is only for personal study and trial reading. Please delete it within 24 hours after downloading. Please support subscribing to genuine novels and reject piracy. Quote. Wow, not bad. This Taigu *5 Vision Omnipotent Observer is so suitable for me. It is equivalent to a combination of Byakugan and Sharingan, although it does not have the special ability of Mangekyo, but it is suitable for me. Lei Luo was also very happy when he saw the prize he had drawn. It just made up for the problem of his lack of detection ability. After all, there was only one light escape Yuhi outside detection technique, which was too limited. In addition, Taigu *5 Vision's Observer also provides some demonic illusion abilities for Lei Luo. You must know that although Lei Luo has Conqueror's Haki, he is not afraid of any demonic illusion, but he does not have any demonic illusion. Illusion. System. Since this Emperor tool belongs to equipment, is it similar to the Central Asian hourglass, it can be used in the system space. Lei Luo asked the system in his mind. The system returned, yes, the host does not need to be taken out, it can be used in the system space. Lei Luo listened to the system's answer and nodded with satisfaction. If you don't take it out, it won't be exposed. Who would have known that your ordinary eyes could have so many special abilities, and using your eyes to activate demonic illusion makes it difficult for the opponent to guard against and easier to succeed. The burning bonfire crackled, and Rin and Kakashi lay on the side, still not awake. On the other side, the underground base of Uchiha Madara. The lost soul Obito followed Ah-Fei's guidance and returned here. In his impression, Rin was already a corpse, and he didn't know that Rin had been rescued by Lei Luo. And Uchiha Madara had already woken up early and had been waiting for him to come back. Uchiha Madara looked into Obito's eyes and said, "The longer you live, the more you feel that reality pervades the reality, only depression, pain and loneliness." Then Obito felt that the surrounding scene changed in an instant, and it turned into that hellish forest-like horror picture, with Rin and Kakashi lying in a pool of blood. Obito staggered forward and walked in front of Rin, trying to touch Rin's face, but found that he went straight through. And Uchiha Madara said next to him, "Listen, everything in this world is the same. Where there is light, there must be shadows. This is a causal relationship and cannot be separated." Ah-Fei said from the side, "According to common sense, it is to abandon the troubles in the real world and escape into a dream full of happiness." Obito looked at Rin's face, tears streaming down his face. Uchiha Madara continued, "Because it's a dream, everything can be changed as you want, even the dead can be resurrected, creating a world where there are only victors, only peace, only love, and only all of them exist." After listening to everything Madara said, Obito stopped crying, looked at Rin and said solemnly, "Rin, I want to create another world with you." The surrounding environment suddenly changed again, becoming that familiar dark room. Then Obito got up and turned his head, looked at Uchiha Madara who was sitting in the chair and said, "I want to cut off all cause and effect in the world, that's what I came back for." Uchiha Madara asked Ah-Fei, "Isn't it being seen by others?" Ah-Fei waved his hand, "I was the only one who saw it. Obito killed all the enemies, so there's no problem." Then he turned his head to look at Obito, it's just that he didn't seem to want to attack Kakashi, but Kakashi didn't see anything. Then we retreated before Konoha's reinforcements arrived. Uchiha Madara looked at Obito and asked, "Can't you bear to attack your former companion?" Obito shook his head. "No, I just don't care. I don't care if the guy is still alive or not. In the world I'm about to create, there is Kakashi and there is Rin. Madara, tell me how can I create the world of my dreams?" Uchiha Madara looked at the determined Obito, with a smile on the corner of his mouth, and said, "You don't need to thank me, come here. From today, you are the savior of the world." Obito walked to Madara step by step and stood there. "Look at my eyes." Madara and Obito looked at each other. Tomo in Sharingan rotated and pulled Obito directly into an empty space. In the space, there are only Madara and Obito. "This is my demonic illusion space," Madara said. "Although it looks blank now, I can create and control everything by projecting my will. As long as you connect a golem and draw on its power, you can do anything, big or small. It's like this." The old Madara instantly regained her youth, from a terminally ill old man to a young man full of vigor. Obito looked at the changes in front of him with surprise. Madara smiled at Obito's reaction and continued, "Use this demonic illusion to create the most ideal world, and then just apply demonic illusion to all human beings and bring them in." He raised his finger and pointed to his Sharingan, "Replace the eye with the moon and expand the scale of this technique to create a world in a dream." Obito said, "You're exaggerating, I can't digest it." Madara replied, "To explain it, we have to start with the 6 paths and the 10 tails. 10 tails, isn't that myth?" Obito asked. "Myths are based on his facts," Madara replied. "The tailed beasts scattered all over the world are formed by the power of 10 tails split by the 6 paths immortals. Is there any evidence that this claim is true? Obito clenched his fist. Yes. Madara nodded. After getting Senjuhashirama's cells, I transplanted it over the wound. World of Demonic Illusion evolves from the past with Madara's ideas. In the beginning nothing happened until I was dying and the Rinnegan was turned on. But at the same time, a certain seal was broken. I learned to summon something, and from the sealing stone, the husk of the 10 tails was summoned, which I call Geto-Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. And that seal stone is what people call the moon. After that, I immediately used the golem body as a catalyst to cultivate Hashirama cells. In other words, these androids can also be seen as replicas of Hashirama, albeit with considerable deterioration. Without the powers of Senju and Uchiha, Rinnegan cannot be opened, let alone Geto-Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. And your right half has Hashirama's cells, so even if you don't turn on the Rinnegan, you should be able to control the golem. Obito stared straight at his right hand, in shock. Chapter 56_Wake. Rin's decision. Well, where is this? Am I in the world of the dead? Rin opened his eyelids slightly, and saw the flickering firelight in front of him, and the figure that looked a little distorted through the firelight. After all, Rin really woke up, sat up from the ground, and touched his chest. Am I not dead? Or is it just a soul now? Rin, are you awake? Lei Luo looked at Rin who sat up beside him, recovered and asked. Rin raised his head and looked at the person in front of him who was dressed in Konoha Anbu's standard attire, with a shark face mask on his face. Who are you? Rin asked suspiciously. Did you save me? That's right, I accepted the request from Lord Minato to rescue you and Kakashi. Lei Luo replied after hearing Rin's words, then raised his hand and took off the mask. It turned out to be you. Lei Luo, Rin asked in surprise, looking at the familiar face under the mask. How did you save me? I remember I should have been pierced through my chest by Kakashi's Reikiri and lost consciousness. And now I have no injuries on my body, the thing in my body is gone, everything is back normal. Lei Luo smiled when he heard Rin's question. He had already thought about how to deal with it. Once upon a mission, I obtained a medicinal pill. It is said that it was left by the 6 Paths Immortal. It has special power. As long as there is still a breath, it can be rescued and restored to its original state. But I don't know if it's true or not. And kept collecting. Quote. When I arrived, all the ninjas in the village of Kurigakure had been killed, and you and Kakashi fell to the ground. I saw that you were in a bad state. I remembered this elixir, and gave it to you. Go down and try if you can save it. I didn't expect this medicine pill to have such a miraculous effect. Hearing Lei Luo's words, Rin was very grateful and said, I didn't expect you to use such a precious medicine to save me. Thank you, Lei Luo-kun. I don't even know how to repay your kindness. Lei Luo waved his hand. You don't have to be too polite. We are friends no matter what. It is impossible for me to watch you die. But, Lei Luo's words suddenly changed. But what? Rin asked suspiciously. But if you want to repay me, can you be my girlfriend? Lei Luo scratched his head, feeling a little embarrassed. Lei Luo not like such a cute girl as Rin. After graduation, I didn't meet Rin much, and Obito has been chasing Rin. A girl as smart as Rin should also feel Obito's feelings, and there is a handsome Kakashi among the teammates, and Lei Luo also there is little chance. But now in Rin's impression, Obito is dead, and Kakashi almost killed her before. Although she hid it by herself, it is inevitable that there will be gaps between teammates. Lei Luo once again feels his chance, so he said this. After listening to Lei Luo's words, Rin instantly raised Yuhi's face shyly. How can Lei Luo-kun ask such a question? It's so sudden, but Lei Luo-kun is so strong and gentle, so it should be a good choice for a partner. Ah, how should I answer him? Rin's mind was full of thoughts. But in the end, Rin still answered, but his voice was too weak. If it wasn't for Lei Luo's strength, he wouldn't be able to hear what Rin said. We can try to get along first. That was Rin's answer. Although the answer was not so direct, Lei Luo was already very happy. At this moment, the system prompt sound suddenly sounded in Lei Luo's mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the mission Campus Overlord 2 and getting the reward God level lottery point *1. Campus Bannerlord 2. When is this mission? Lei Luo was confused by the system's sudden prompt. After checking it for a while, I recalled that the mission of Campus Overlord 2 was to ask him to have 3 girlfriends in school. After Yuhi and Yugao became his girlfriends, 2/3 of the mission progress had been completed, but later in the past few years, he has been busy with tasks and cultivation, and he has forgotten that there is such a task. And Rin is his classmate of the ninja school. Now that he has agreed to his request, he is naturally recognized by the system as having completed this task. So it is. Lei Luo understood. Lei Luo, who had figured out the ins and outs, looked at Rin who was still bowing his head shyly and asked, Rin, do you have any plans in the future? After listening to Lei Luo's question, Rin remembered the death of Obito he had seen before, and the fact that he almost died. He became depressed and replied, I should return to the village in the future and become a professional. The medical ninja, stay in the Konoha hospital to treat others, I am no longer fit to go out and do the task. Quote. Looking at Rin in a depressed mood, Lei Luo felt a little distressed, reached out to hold Rin in his arms, touched her hair and said, It's okay, it's good to stay in the village as a medical ninja, you don't have to worry about your safety in the future. You can still save me when I am injured. Quote. Rin didn't say anything, just buried his head in Lei Luo's chest, and the mountain and forest fell silent for a while. Rin. A scream broke the silence, and also woke up Rin buried in Lei Luo's chest. Rin came back to his senses, left Lei Luo's arms embarrassedly, and sat aside. It turned out that it was Kakashi who woke up, and his memory was still stuck when his Reikiri pierced Rin, so he couldn't help screaming. Stop screaming. Rin isn't dead yet. Lei Luo said angrily to Kakashi, and he was very dissatisfied after being interrupted by Xiao Wenwen. Let you be a single dog for life. Lei Luo stared at Kakashi, thinking fiercely in his heart. Hearing Lei Luo's voice, Kakashi woke up and looked at Lei Luo and Rin sitting next to him, feeling a little emotional for a while. Rin, it's great that you didn't die. I'm sorry. Rin shook his head after hearing Kakashi's words. You don't need to apologize, Kakashi, I bumped into your Reikiri on purpose before. Fortunately, Lei Luo-kun arrived in time to save me. Kakashi nodded, then said to Lei Luo, thank you for saving Rin, otherwise I'm afraid I'll feel guilty for the rest of my life. Thank you, Kakashi kept thanking. Lei Luo replied, Kakashi, no thanks. This is what I should do. Then he asked, Rin plans to go back to the village to become a professional medical ninja. You should be the only one in your team in the future. Do you have any plans? After listening to Lei Luo's question, Kakashi was a little lost for a while and fell into contemplation. Chapter 57 Kakashi's Choice. Breath of Water. Kakashi pondered for a long time and finally figured it out. He raised his head and said, I will practice the swordsmanship hard, inherit the name of White Fang, and reinvigorate the Hokage family. After going through so many things, some of him understood his father and no longer resisted the name of White Fang and the Hokage swordsmanship. Kakashi continued, I should be like you in the future, apply to Hokage-sama to join Anbu. Lei Luo listened to Kakashi's words and nodded, this should be the best choice for him. Hokage family is the roost with swordsmanship, but the amount of chakra is not huge. In the original work, even though Kakashi used Sharingan to copy countless ninjutsu, he was called Copy Ninja and Konoha Technician, but due to the limitation of the amount of chakra, he couldn't fight for a long time, and every time he didn't use a few ninjutsu tricks, the chakra was consumed. Although a lot of chakra is consumed because Sharingan cannot be closed, in general, this path is not suitable for Kakashi. On the other hand, Kakashi's father, Konoha White Fang, Hatake Tsukumo, stood at the pinnacle of the ninja world with his instant skills and sword skills alone. This is the most suitable path for Kakashi. Thinking of this, Lei Luo said to Kakashi, "Kakashi, I have some suggestions and ideas here, would you like to listen to them?" Kakashi replied, "Please speak, Lei Luo-kun." Lei Luo continued, "If you want to become stronger and revive the Hatake clan, I have 3 suggestions here. First, if you want to become stronger in your family's Hatake swordsmanship, in addition to practicing hard, you also have to fight with others. The most suitable thing for this is to go to the country of iron, if you don't have to endure it. You can challenge all the way with swordsmanship alone, and when you defeat the generals of the Iron Kingdom, your swordsmanship will be able to catch up with the realm of Lord White Fang." Quote. After listening to Lei Luo's words, Kakashi thought it was very reasonable. After the war was over, Kakashi applied to Lord Hokage to go to the Iron Country to practice for a period of time, and then asked, "What about the second rule?" "The second one is Raiden Thunder Style," Lei Luo said. Raiden Thunder Style. Kakashi didn't quite understand what Lei Luo meant. "That's right, since you can develop Raiden Thunder Style Reikiri's rank ninjutsu, it shows that you are also very talented in Raiden Thunder Style. You know the Kumogakure village where we are now fighting against our Konoha. The best thing is Raiden Thunder Style ninjutsu, through Raiden Thunder Style, can strengthen the body's strength, speed and so on." Lei Luo explained. "If you can develop your own Raiden Thunder Style ninjutsu and Thunder attribute swordsmanship, then you may surpass Mr. White Fang." Lei Luo's words seemed to open a door for Kakashi, let him understand the future direction, and he also had more new ideas. Looking at Kakashi, who was suddenly enlightened, Lei Luo continued, "If the third rule, find a girlfriend." Find a girlfriend. Kakashi's eyes twitched slightly. What kind of advice was that? That's right, you want to revive the Hatake clan by yourself. Don't you still have to spread the branches? Lei Luo said with a smile. "Okay, I see, thank you, Lei Luo-kun." Kakashi thanked, though a little speechless at the last suggestion. "Don't be too polite, you and Rin have experienced a life and death battle today, and you still need a good rest. Tomorrow we are ready to rush back to the frontline camp. Now our Konoha is under a lot of pressure on the battlefield." Lei Luo said. "Tonight we need to take turns to keep vigil to prevent enemy ninjas. You two should rest and recover first. I'll keep vigil first." Rin and Kakashi listened to Lei Luo's words and went to rest without saying anything more. The forest was quiet again. Lei Luo added some branches to the bonfire, and then called out the system again. "System, draw the lottery point you just got." System ***** appeared, and another 6 prizes appeared. S-class skill, vector manipulation. S-class items, devil fruit * burnt fruit. S-class gear, banshee veil. S-class pet, Godzilla. S-class item, death note. S-level skills, sword art * breath of water. And the system did not use Lei Luo to check it this time, so it passed the prize information into Lei Luo's mind. Vector manipulation is an ability from the Academy City world. It can control the direction of energy. As long as it touches the skin, it can freely manipulate the direction of all energy such as kinetic energy, thermal energy, and electrical energy, and can reflect all physical attacks. Devil fruit * burning fruit is a natural fruit from the world of One Piece. Those who burn the fruit can create flames from any part of the body. The flame itself can be freely changed into any shape according to the user's will, such as forming a flame net or a fire fist attack, etc. It can also wrap the flame around the weapon, giving the weapon the dual power of blunt attack and flame. It can also open up a flame channel in an explosion or a sea of fire so that the people inside are not harmed. The weakness is that the flame will be extinguished by the impact of a huge amount of water, and it cannot resist the magma that is known to burn fire. The Banshee Veil, a peculiar piece of equipment from the League of Legends world. Its effect is to obtain a spell shield that resists an enemy's spell attack, and it takes 40 minutes to refresh after blocking. Godzilla, from the world of Godzilla. Godzilla was a giant creature that inhabited the Permian period, the descendant of the race that was at the peak of the ecosystem at that time. The body has an organ like an atomic furnace, which can generate huge heat energy by itself. During the Permian mass extinction, it was able to escape by hiding underground. Sleeping on the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, due to the excessively frequent modern nuclear tests, the radioactive energy concentration on the surface has risen, so it has come to the ground again. Death Note, from the world of Death Note. It is said that a god of death named Ryuk left a Death Notebook in the world, and the notebook contains the law of death. As long as the name is written in the notebook, people will die. The swordsmanship genre Breath of Water comes from the world of Demon Slayer. Swordsmanship is characterized by its excellent defense and transformation capabilities, but its attack power is slightly insufficient. Lei Luo just had a brief understanding and turned the dial. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the S-level skill, Sword Art School Breath of Water. Swordsmanship Breath of Water. Lei Luo felt the extra swordsmanship training methods and various swordsmanship moves in his mind. Then Lei Luo sighed. It's a very strong swordsmanship school, although the attack power is a little weaker, but if it cooperates with higher Enmaru, it may be stronger. I can only use the first 3 moves with my current level of proficiency. Lei Luo glanced sideways at Kakashi who was sleeping. Kakashi should be a very good target for practicing swordsmanship. Well, yes, I'm all here for Kakashi's progress. Let him feel the power of swordsmanship, and try it with him tomorrow. Chapter 58 Danzo Conspiracy. Intercept. Kumogakure Front, Konoha Camp. Orochimaru was in the tent, looking at the map sand table, thinking about the next battle arrangement. At this moment, a man opened the tent curtain and walked in, holding a cane in his hand, and half of his body was wrapped in bandages. It was Shimura Danzo, the root of Konoha. Orochimaru frowned at Danzo and said, I didn't expect you to come out of the village. Aren't you afraid that the teacher will discover our cooperation? Danzo smiled grimly and said, You underestimate me too, Danzo. Hiruzen couldn't have found it. Don't talk nonsense, I'm here to find you something. Orochimaru stared at Danzo and asked, What would make you go out in person? Can't you just pass the message on? Danzo replied, Do you remember when you had a subordinate? His name was Lei Luo. Orochimaru nodded. Danzo went on to say, This time, I accidentally got a piece of information. The reason why Senju Naoki's Mokuden wood style was able to successfully awaken has a lot to do with Lei Luo's light and blood. Lei Luo is now Anbu. It was not easy to attack directly in the past, but now he is also on the Kumogakure battlefield. Any accident on the battlefield is possible. I want you to join me in grabbing him, merging his abilities with Mokuden wood style cells to get me a new arm. I'm fed up with the state I'm in. Hearing Danzo's words, Orochimaru was moved. Orochimaru knows more about Lei Luo than Danzo. He has done 2 experiments with Lei Luo's cells and has long known that light escape can promote the fusion of Mokuden wood style cells. But he also knows that Lei Luo's strength is not weak, and his current achievements are not small. At the beginning, he was able to compete with the 5-tailed Jinchuriki column force on the battlefield of the Land of Wind, and then killed 4 of the 7 people of the ninja sword. Not long ago, he also completed the task of destroying the Kanabi Bridge, which relieved the pressure on the battlefield of the Land of Grass. If the matter of besieging and killing Lei Luo is revealed, then he can only defect. But compared to the temptation to obtain the light escape, even if it is to defect, Orochimaru will not hesitate. So, Orochimaru agreed to Danzo's request. Then he said, As the frontline coach now, it is very simple to arrange a task for him. After he returns, I will arrange a task for him to go to the borderline. Bring your elite team with you, and we will capture it together. Danzo nodded, Okay. Lei Luo didn't have the heart to try the knife with Kakashi, but returned to the frontline camp with Rin and Kakashi. Namikaze Minato also felt relieved when he saw the few people who were doing nothing. After he learned about Rin and Kakashi's decision in the future, he didn't say much, just expressed his support. Then he arranged Rin to the wounded barracks to help the wounded. As for Kakashi, Namikaze Minato thought for a while, then said to Lei Luo, "Black Shark, since Kakashi wants to enter Anbu later, let him follow you temporarily. Now the frontline battle is very stressful, and your team members have also been sent out. As for Lord Hokage, I'll tell you, what do you think?" Lei Luo thought about what Namikaze Minato said, but agreed. Lei Luo walked out of the tent, and Anbu appeared in front of him. "Master Orochimaru has a mission for you, come with me." Lei Luo followed Anbu in front of him to Orochimaru's tent. Looking at Orochimaru, Lei Luo's heart tightened for no reason. Turning on the 5-vision omnipotent observer and seeing Orochimaru's murderous intentions and maliciousness through his vision ability, Lei Luo immediately raised his vigilance. Looks like there's something wrong with this mission, Lei Luo thought. Orochimaru looked at Lei Luo, pointed to the map and said, "Your mission is to go to this stronghold in Kumogakure and destroy the materials. According to the information, this stronghold has stored a lot of materials, but in order to hide people's eyes and ears, the stronghold did not send how many are stationed. But now the pressure of the battle is relatively high, and no one else can go with you. This time, you are the only one on the mission, how about it?" Lei Luo knew that this mission must have traps, but even if he refused, Orochimaru would definitely find other ways to target him, so he might as well accept it. Moreover, with his current strength, he is not afraid of Orochimaru at all. Instead of always being careful, he might as well lead the snake out of the hole. "No problem, leave it to me." Orochimaru handed over the mission's intelligence and stronghold map to Lei Luo. When Lei Luo just walked out of the tent, a snake also swam out quietly. Lei Luo galloped all the way towards the Kumogakure stronghold in the mission after leaving the frontline camp. Out of caution, Lei Luo has not dared to use full speed, but has always maintained a state of balance, able to cope with various emergencies. Halfway through the journey, Lei Luo did not let his guard down. "Isn't Orochimaru ready to shoot yet? Is he planning to wait for me to complete the mission and then shoot on the way back?" Lei Luo thought to himself. At this moment, Lei Luo noticed something was wrong, and the forest in front was too quiet. Lei Luo stopped the cockroach, turned on the 5-vision omnipotent, and saw through the perspective that the road ahead had been laid with dense traps, and there were dozens of detonating symbols alone. Then, after observing the mountains and forests with farsightedness at the same time, there are 7 or 8 figures in ambush there. Big money, Orochimaru. Looks like Orochimaru is really trying to kill this time. Lei Luo naturally wouldn't bump into it stupidly, so he raised his hand with a few laser beams, triggering the trap and causing a series of explosions, including various kunai, 1,000 books, and shuriken flying around. Target triggers trap, go. The figure who was lying in ambush behind the forest rushed up. The smoke cleared, but the people in ambush found that Lei Luo hadn't entered the trap at all, standing there unscathed, waiting for them. The intelligence is wrong. The target has a strong reconnaissance ability, and the trap has not taken effect. He is only one person, and his fighting power is enough. Come on. Everyone rushed towards Lei Luo directly. It turned out to be the route. It seems that Danzo also shot, but I don't know if he came in person. Lei Luo recognized the identity of the ambush person at a glance, and it was the root member of Danzo's men. Futon, wind style. Daitapa, great breakthrough, rushed to the root ninja at the forefront, directly hand seal with both hands, opened his mouth and spit out a wind blade, cutting to Lei Luo. I'm too underestimated. A few lights flickered, and Lei Luo appeared directly behind Futon's wind style root ninja. Try the new breath of water, I still couldn't bear to try it with Kakashi before. Knife. Breath of water. 1 form. Water surface slashed out, and the head of the root ninja in front of him was directly cut off. Immediately after, 2 huge fireballs attacked Lei Luo at the same time, which is Kaiden fire style. Great fireball jutsu. Breath of water. 2 style. Water wheel. Lei Luo swung the knife and spun. Chakra danced with the knife, an effect similar to the gentle fist. Revolving heaven, of the Hyuga family, and the grand fireball hit it and dissipated directly. Yes, this breath of water suits me so well. Can't spend too much on these roots, the next move is to deal with them. Breath of water. 3 styles. Flowing dance. For a while, it made people feel that Lei Luo's figure was full of mountains and forests, moving with the sword, flowing water, attacking several people at the root from unexpected angles. Ninjas, they were beheaded before they could react. Lei Luo took a deep breath and took a deep breath. Then he said, "Don't hide anymore, come out." Chapter 59 Orochimaru shot. Lei Luo finished speaking, a giant python swam over from the forest, opened its mouth, and Orochimaru burrowed out of it. Clap. Orochimaru clapped and looked at Lei Luo. "Lei Luo-kun, I didn't expect you to be so strong now. Those just now were all elites from the root. You can do it with a few simple tricks. It's really fun." Orochimaru's eyes narrowed slightly, and in the next instant, a violent murderous aura rushed towards Lei Luo. Conqueror's Haki. Lei Luo pushed back with the same momentum, and even made Orochimaru a little under pressure. "Don't use this kind of small trick, now you are the only one left here." Haha, as expected of Lei Luo-kun. Orochimaru stuck out his tongue and licked the corner of his mouth, but the next second he suddenly shot. Snake Ninja * Evil Snake wrist burst. Several giant snakes suddenly appeared and slaughtered Lei Luo directly. Boom. Several giant pythons were directly detonated by Orochimaru, and for a while, flesh and blood flew, and the stench spread. But Lei Luo was no longer there. "Is this the speed of light? How enviable! You are much stronger than before, Lei Luo-kun." Orochimaru's eyes went wild. "Let me see how strong you are." Orochimaru kept his hands. Crazy Hand Seal. Futon, Wind Style, Kaiden, Fire Style, Doden, Earth Style, Raiden, Thunder Style, Suigen, Water Style. Countless ninjutsu poured out with terror. In an instant, the wind whistled, the water waves roared into the sky, the lightning flashed and thundered, the flames were everywhere, and the earth roared. Lei Luo was also taken aback when he saw this. Is Orochimaru so fierce? Lei Luo dodged around with the speed of light, and he kept releasing light escape ninjutsu to resist. Higher Inmaru also directly entered the Shikai state, waving the ice-cold sword. There was no danger for a while. Immediately after Orochimaru directly hand seal, the psychic summoned the 10,000 snakes. One snake's huge tail curled up and patted Lei Luo with a fierce momentum. Boom! An invisible air wave spread, overturned the nearby land, and a deep ravine appeared on the ground. But it still missed Lei Luo. Fizz! One snake's ferocity remains undiminished, and frantically swings its tail towards Lei Luo. Lei Luo directly summoned Tam. "Tam, this stinky snake will be handed over to you." "No problem, Master." Orochimaru's blind attack made Lei Luo a little angry, and he was going to use his real strength to kill Orochimaru. Bankai. Dai Yuhiren Higher Inmaru. The amazing chill formed a white cold current around Lei Luo, and Lei Luo's body also underwent great changes. Lei Luo's right arm was covered with ice, and his right hand formed a dragon's head. Dragon Kiba locked Higher Inmaru tightly, and spread out a pair of beautiful frost wings behind his back. The wings flapped slightly, flying Lei Luo into the air. "Is this your true power?" Orochimaru looked up at Lei Luo in the air with frenzied eyes. Holding Higher Inmaru, Lei Luo instantly appeared in front of Orochimaru. Higher Inmaru had already stabbed into Orochimaru's body, but Lei Luo didn't look happy. Because he knew that Orochimaru couldn't have died so easily. Sure enough, Orochimaru, who was stabbed by Lei Luo, turned into a native by the way, and fell apart with a crash, and the clod fell to the ground. It was Doden, Earth-style soil substitute. And Orochimaru drilled out from under the ground on the other side. It's faster, Lei Luo-kun. Looking at the emerging Orochimaru, the higher Inmaru in Lei Luo's hand swung out again, and a huge and fast ice dragon roared towards Orochimaru. Orochimaru did not retreat. Doden, Earth-style rampart of flowing soil, a tall earth wall rose up from the ground, blocking Orochimaru in front of him. The ice dragon roared and slammed into the earth wall, and the huge impact force directly smashed the earth wall. However, the defensive power of rampart of flowing soil is indeed amazing, successfully weakening the impact of the ice dragon. Kaiden, fire-style dragon flame jutsu. Orochimaru had already formed the seal again, and a long flame dragon roared and rushed up, hitting the ice dragon that was rushing. The ice and the fire collided violently, and the white mist evaporated. The ice dragon, which was in decline, finally swallowed up the flames, but was unable to go further. Since it's not enough to attack from a distance, let's fight close to you. Lei Luo charged up again with higher Inmaru in hand. Facing Lei Luo, who rushed up with his sword, Orochimaru showed an excited expression, then opened his mouth and spit out a sword. He hadn't fought with the human body for many years. After all, with his strength, the ninja could not get close to him and was dealt with. Clang! Lei Luo didn't fall to the ground, waving higher Inmaru on top of Orochimaru's head and fell, but Orochimaru held it up with his sword. Orochimaru's sword was still covered with a layer of cyan futon, wind-style chakra. However, Lei Luo was slashing like a storm. Lei Luo's speed was too fast. Orochimaru couldn't stab him at all, he could only passively block left and right. But Orochimaru is really powerful, his futon, wind-style, nature transformation is really incomparable, and his sword is not of ordinary quality, it should be the legendary grass pheasant sword, otherwise, after so many encounters, it would have been long ago cut off by higher Inmaru. But Orochimaru could not stop him after all. After all, he is not a taijutsu ninja, and his strength and speed cannot keep up with Lei Luo. Lei Luo slashed Orochimaru's shoulder with higher Inmaru in his hand, cut off the bones without any obstacle, and shaved off half of Orochimaru's body. However, Lei Luo still did not let his guard down, because Orochimaru used the snake sloughing technique to break away from the old body and restore it intact again. It's so hard to deal with. Lei Luo looked at Orochimaru, who appeared again, gasping for breath. You must know that Lei Luo's abilities are powerful, but they consume a lot of money. Just now, he tried his best to use physical skills, otherwise it would be difficult to support until now. Tam and Wan Shi next to him also stalemate, and no one can do anything about it. Are you going to use the 8 inner gates to go all out? Can you kill Orochimaru? Lei Luo couldn't be sure, although Orochimaru's consumption must be quite a lot, but Orochimaru is always known how hard it is to kill, no one knows how many life-saving backhands did he hide. And Orochimaru is now the commander of the Kumogakure battlefield. If Orochimaru dies, no one knows what the consequences will be. Lei Luo was already thinking of retreating. Then, Lei Luo directly retracted Tam and said coldly to Orochimaru, Orochimaru, I won't play with you this time. Remember, there is no next time. Immediately afterwards, Lei Luo left in an instant. Lei Luo is no longer worried about Orochimaru's threat now, and he still has a system. As long as he draws a few more powerful rewards, the next time Orochimaru dares to attack, he will turn Orochimaru into a dead snake. Orochimaru looked at Lei Luo, who was leaving at the speed of light, but didn't catch up, just stood there with gloomy eyes, not knowing what he was thinking. Chapter 60 Kumogakure Stronghold, Mission completed. Lei Luo ran all the way and ran for a long time before finally stopping. After turning on the 5-vision omnipotence to observe the surrounding situation and ensure safety, he relaxed. This Orochimaru is too difficult, Lei Luo thought while resting and recovering. And that guy Danzo, an old Yinbi, the maggots who have been hiding in the dark even dared to come to trouble me. I hope to be able to draw a death note, a book of 7 arrows with nails, etc. In the next lottery, I will kill him directly. Just by killing him, the whole of Konoha will be much more secure. The various things that Konoha appeared in the original book, which one did not have his conspiracy, the death of White Fang, the rebellion of Kyubi, 9 Tails, the death of Hyuga Hazashi, the genocide of Uchiha. Although these things are irrelevant to the top of Konoha, but he is definitely the biggest tumor. Lei Luo thought about various things that happened in the original book, and his thoughts were complicated for a while. After a long time, Lei Luo felt that he was almost recovered, so he decided to visit the Kumogakure stronghold in the mission. Although Orochimaru took this opportunity to attack him, maybe the content of the mission is true. If he went straight back to the village and Orochimaru disgusted him in the name of not completing the mission, it would be too uncomfortable. Lei Luo took out the map, observed it carefully, determined the approximate location of the current location, and then set off. Late at night, in the valley. A cool breeze blew, causing the 2 Kumogakure ninjas in the sentry to tighten their robes unconsciously. One of them suddenly asked, "Hey, did you hear anything?" The other listened intently for a while, then shook his head and said, "Isn't it just some insects and birds chirping? What's the matter, did you hear something else?" At this moment, a black shadow suddenly burst into the sentry and rushed towards the 2 Kumogakure ninjas with lightning speed. Who? Before the 2 Kumogakure ninjas could shout, they fell under the cold sword light. He stepped forward to probe the breath and heartbeat of the 2, and after confirming that the 2 were dead, the shadow slowly stood up. He stood in the sentry and turned his eyes to the stronghold in the valley. The moonlight shone down and fell on the shadow, revealing his appearance. This shadow is none other than Lei Luo, who came to the Kumogakure stronghold to perform a mission. After sneaking into the valley, he found that Kumogakure's layout of the valley was loose on the outside and tight on the inside. Although there were not many guards, it could be called 1 post at 10 steps and 1 post at 5 steps. Such tight guards convinced Lei Luo that Kumogakure had hoarded a lot of supplies here. It seems that the content of this mission is true, Lei Luo thought. However, after Lei Luo turned on the 5 vision omnipotence and observed it carefully for a moment, his brows became more and more frowning. There are 40 or 50 people scattered in the valley, and 40 or 50 people gathered near the warehouse in the innermost valley. Although the number of people is not particularly large, it is quite a lot, which is a bit more than Lei Luo's estimate. After thinking about it for a while, he didn't think of a good way to break the game, so Lei Luo decided to take a strong attack. If it was delayed for a while, when the guard changed, they would find the death of the guard at the gate, which would make it difficult to achieve the effect of a surprise attack. Whoosh whoosh. More than a dozen kunai tied with detonating talismans were thrown out by Lei Luo one by one. Boom boom boom. A series of violent explosions suddenly sounded in the valley. Through the darkness and the smoke from the explosion, Lei Luo, holding Hirinmaru, silently touched the panicked Kumogakure ninjas. Who is it? Where? Enemy attack. For a while the Kumogakure ninja was thrown into chaos. And Lei Luo, under the cover of smoke and dust, recklessly harvested the ninjas guarded by Kumogakure. The sword light flashed, and in the blink of an eye, 7 or 8 people fell forever. Futon, wind style. Blowing. A Kumogakure Jonin has already reflected on it, directly using futon, wind style, ninjutsu to blow away the smoke. Without the cover of smoke and dust, Lei Luo's figure was naturally revealed in front of Kumogakure. Seeing Lei Luo's outfit, a Kumogakure Jonin hurriedly shouted, "It's Anbu from Konoha. Be careful everyone." Looking at the Kumogakure that kept gathering, Lei Luo directly released Conqueror's Haki. Since he has shot, he will definitely not leave a living hole, so if you use Conqueror's Haki, you don't have to worry about exposure. A strong momentum surged out of Lei Luo, and the several Kumogakure charging towards him stood in place as if they had been hit by a body immobilization technique, and then fell down with their heads down. The momentum spread. Kumogakure Genin passed out directly after Byakugan flipped over, and Kumogakure's Chunin didn't hold back for long and fell one after another. Only Kumogakure's Jonin just felt a little pressure, but it was not a big deal. Is this demonic illusion? Demonic illusion. Solution. A Kumogakure Jonin looked at the fallen Kumogakure ninjas in disbelief, thinking that he had been hit by a demonic illusion. Because of this, it's not demonic illusion at all. Lei Luo took this opportunity to walk directly to his side, breath of water. One style. Slashing on the water's surface, this Jonin was like a dead tree, and was directly split by Lei Luo. For breath of water, Lei Luo is also using it more and more smoothly, which is much less labor-intensive than before. Then Lei Luo flashed directly into the air, light escape. 8-foot Chong Tomo, releasing countless dazzling light bullets, smashing towards the ground. Those Kumogakure Genin and Chunin who fainted on the ground were instantly blasted into sieves, lost their lives in a coma, and blood spread from their bodies. Damn it! A Kumogakure Jonin looked at Lei Luo with a furious expression, Raiden Thunder style. False darkness, and directly opened his mouth and spat out a bolt of lightning at Lei Luo. Light escape. Laser cannon, a sturdy laser shot from Lei Luo's hand, hit the flying lightning, then rushed over in an instant, and slammed into Kumogakure Jonin's chest with unabated momentum, knocking him spike. The strength of the two sides is not above an order of magnitude at all. Lei Luo can be said to be massacred, and the depression of fighting against Orochimaru is also swept away in this battle. In the valley, golden light and thunder light flickered from time to time, and roars and shouts of killing were also heard. After a long time, the valley finally calmed down. Lei Luo stood in the middle of the valley, breathing heavily, blood dripping from the Hiranmaru in his hand. Then Lei Luo turned on his omnipotence again, observed the valley, and found that there were no more hidden Kumogakure ninjas. Lei Luo walked slowly, releasing laser light in his hands, giving the Kumogakure ninjas who still had signs of life one last shot, and then walked towards the material warehouse in the valley. Light escape. Burning heaven. A golden flame spit out from Lei Luo's mouth and landed on top of the materials in the warehouse, then quickly burned and spread, with the sound of explosions from time to time. Lei Luo stood at the exit of the mountain pass for a long time until there was no movement in the valley, then turned and left.